County, Busia County. This road forms part of the larger 22-kilometer Mungati, Benga, Akobwait, Kwangamor, Kotur, Kapina, Kocholia corridor, classified as County Road F90291. The works were to include upgrading to bitumen standard, a 10-meter reinforced concrete bridge, installation of road furniture, and performance-based road maintenance brackets (PBRM) elements. Despite a Kenya shillings 150 million allocation by the Kenya Roads Board, KERA awarded the contract to Messrs. Swami Investments Limited for Kenya shillings 108.87 million. The project was due for completion in June 2023, but has stalled, with the contractor repeatedly abandoning the site and failing to deliver key components. A demolished bridge remains unreplaced, and a temporary wooden structure has collapsed several times, causing injuries and death. Completed sections are dangerously narrow, with environmental degradation from unclaimed borrow pits. Suppliers remain unpaid, and serious irregularities, including a Kenya shillings 41 million gap between allocation and contract sum, have been reported. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1. The procurement process and whether due diligence was followed in the appointment and capacity evaluation of the contractor, including the validity of the performance guarantees. 2. The status and intended use of the unaccounted balance of Kenya shillings 41,128,799 shillings and 60 cents in relation to the budgeted allocation and the contract sum. 3. Whether there has been value for money in the works completed thus far, considering the delays, poor quality, and safety concerns. 4. Whether all local suppliers have been compensated and, where applicable, the payment of accrued interest due to delayed settlement. 5. Completion plan, including a firm timeline for delivery of the pending works to ensure the community has a functional and safe road. 6. Measures against all individuals or institutions whose negligence or misconduct has compromised the project, and appropriate compensation for the persons injured or killed due to the current unsafe state of the road. Senator Andrew Mtata MP, Senator from Busia County.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 56.
The last statement, I had 3.
Oh, you still have one more?
I have one more.
You may proceed, Honorable Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The third statement is on the deplorable state of infrastructure, drainage, and sanitation in Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53, Clause 1, to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the deplorable state of infrastructure, drainage, and sanitation in the city of Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, sir, Nairobi as the administrative, political, and economic center of Kenya should reflect our national dignity and progress. Unfortunately, the current state of roads, stormwater drainage, waste disposal, and sanitation paint a grim picture of neglect and mismanagement. The city suffers from poor waste collection, blocked drains, frequent flooding, and open sewers, compromising public health, disrupting businesses, and damaging Kenya's image. This alarming situation has exposed residents, school-going children, and city visitors to daily risks, with increasing accidents, property losses, and health concerns. In the statement, the committee should address the following. the current conditions of Nairobi's sanitation, drainage and sewage systems, including the reasons for their persistent failure, especially during the rainy season. The total amount allocated and spent from the financial year 2019-2020 to date on drainage works, waste management, and road maintenance in Nairobi's Central Business District and its environs. The list of contractors and companies engaged in these works, including how they were procured and how much each was paid. The reasons for delayed or unresponsive repairs of open manholes, blocked drains, and potholes in areas of high pedestrian and vehicular traffic. 5, the emergency and long-term measures being implemented by Nairobi City County and the Ministry of Roads and Transport to resolve the recurring problems of urban flooding, sewage overflows, and deteriorating road networks. Senator Andrew Omtata, MP, Senator from Busia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Statement pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B, the Chairperson Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B for the report period 1st April to 19th September 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries from 1st April to 19th September 2025. During the period under review, the committee held a total of 22 sittings during which it considered 4 bills and 9 statements. In the reporting period, the committee invited the governor of Nyandarua County to deliberate on the research by Egerton University regarding the use of unsafe pesticides in potato farming in Nyandarua County. The committee later met with the researchers who appraised the committee on the status of the research. The committee also invited the governor of Trans Nzoia County and deliberated on the procurement and distribution of maize seeds in the county. The committee is still pursuing the matter viciously. The committee conducted oversight visits as follows. Oversight visit to Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, KALRO in Naivasha, Nakuru County, and was appraised on the operations facing KALRO and opportunities for engagement with counties. B. Inspection visits to National Cereals and Produce Board, Eldoret Depot in Uasin Gishu County, and the Kenya Seed Company Limited in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County. The visits sought to access grain capacity, strategic food reserve management. Bills. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee considered the following 4 bills. The Coffee Bill 2023, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023. The bill was processed in the Senate and is currently on Mediation Committee. The Food and Feed Safety Control Coordination Bill 2023, National Assembly Bills number 21 of 2023. The bill was processed in the Senate and is currently under Mediation Committee. The Livestock Protection and Sustainability Bill 2024, Senate Bill number 32 of 2024. The committee conducted public participation and received submissions from the Council of Governors and the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development. The committee will undertake stakeholder engagement in livestock rearing counties of Samburu, Kajiado, Garissa, and Taita Taveta. The Seed and Plant Varieties Bill 2025, Senate Bill number 4 of 2025. The committee is conducting public participation and will undertake targeted stakeholder engagements with the Seed Trade Association of Kenya, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, and the Technical Committee on Agriculture of the Council of Governors. Statements. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, 9 statements were sought from the committee, of which 1 was concluded and 3 are waiting responses from the stakeholders. The committee is processing the remaining statements and has shared responses received with the senators who sought the statement. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the next quarter, the committee will undertake an inspection visit to Turkana County on irrigation scheme projects and also undertake inspection visit to NCPP depots across the country on the status of availability of seeds and fertilizer. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Senator Wafula Wakoli, MP, Chairperson, Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. Thank you.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to submit the activities of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 561B to make a statement of the activities of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations for the period commencing April to July 2025. Honorable Speaker, during the reporting period, the committee has carried out various activities pertaining to this mandate. In summary, the committee considered the following 2 bills, which is concluded and tabled in the respective reports in this House. 1, the Office of the Attorney General Amendment Bill 2024, Senate Bill number 47 of 2024. 2, the County Government Laws Amendment Bill 2024, Senate Bill number 52 of 2024. B, the committee considered and concluded 2 petitions before it and tabled the respective reports in this House. 1, petition on branding of public projects with images of governors and MCAs and branding of the county vehicles. 2, petition on amending the County Government Act 2012, Cap 265, regarding the mandate of county governors, assigning the portfolio of county executive committee members to deputy governors. C, the committee has processed 9 statements that were sought from the committee. Of the 9, the committee has considered and concluded 5, leaving 4 statements pending. B, in line with this mandate, the committee considered the application of a confinement of city status on Thika municipality. The committee has considered the reports of the ad hoc committee on the application for confinement of city status to Thika municipality and the report of the County Assembly Committee on County Planning and Urbanization. The committee has also met with various stakeholders to debate on the application and is still in the process of considering, which we hopefully will consider in the next 2 weeks. Honorable Speaker, the committee in future plans to conduct an inquiry into the national government parastatals that are still performing the devolved functions, to conduct visits to various counties to inspect the development projects being considered, to implement and the stall project by the county government and assess the general state of devolution in the counties. Lastly, I want to thank the members and the committee for the good work they have done. Thank you so much, and I beg to table. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Education for the second quarter of the 4th session, covering the period 1st April to 19th September 2025. During the period under review, the committee held 41 sittings, during which various legislative business was considered. The committee also undertook 5 county oversight and networking engagements in the following counties: Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Kitui, and Makueni counties, to acquaint themselves on the status of the early childhood development education and the vocational education training. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the reporting period, the committee held a meeting with the Council of Governors to deliberate on the final policy on the model school feeding for county governments. The matter of school feeding for ECD learners is very crucial to ensure increased enrollment and retention of learners, especially those from food-scarce counties. During the reporting period, Mr. Speaker, the committee considered an inquiry into the implementation status of the early childhood development education and the vocational training education policies in particular. Subsequently, the committee met with 21 governors, namely from Tana River, Narok, Mombasa, Machakos, Kericho, Kwale, Kilifi, Uasin Gishu, Kitui, Nakuru, Nyamira, Nandi, Makueni, Garissa, Kisii, Turkana, Laikipia, Lamu, Migori, Nyandarua, and Murang'a counties to consider and inquire on the same. The committee observed a trend where county governments are giving bursaries and scholarships for basic and higher education without giving due attention to the devolved functions, especially those in the education sector, which are the ECDE and the vocational training centers. The committee recommended that county governments should only utilize the funds available to them to undertake the devolved functions that are listed in Part 2 of the 4th schedule, and therefore, if bursaries or scholarships are to be issued by the county governments, it should be done in accordance with Article 187 on the transfer of functions and powers between the levels of governments, where there is an agreement to transfer the function and where resources for issuance of bursaries are provided for by the national government. That's the function should be followed by the funding. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, a total of 14 statements were sought from the committee. The committee considered and concluded 2 statements. The committee has a number of pending statements from the Ministry of Education, and the committee is scheduled to engage the ministry on the matter of delays in submitting responses to statements. The committee held a consultative meeting with the TSC and deliberated on the recruitment and transfer policy of teachers in the county and registration and recruitment of ECD teachers in the counties. The 12 statements which are linked to the Ministry of Education will hopefully be discussed this weekend, Mr. Speaker, as we have a retreat with the Ministry of Education. In the next reporting period, therefore, the committee proposes to undertake the following activities: to hold a retreat with the Ministry of Education between the 26th and 27th September 2025 to deliberate on these pending statements and also follow up on impending resolutions on the statements of the national address passed on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, regarding concerns raised on junior secondary school education, the new university funding model for university education, and the acceptability of competence-based learning. The committee will also seek the ministry's preparedness to implement a cabinet resolution on merging the 10 state corporations in the education sector. Mr. Speaker, I'm meeting with the Council of Governors to deliberate on the implementation and harmonization of the scheme of service for ECD teachers and the implementation of the provisions of ECD policies, including the National Pre-Primary Education Policy Standards Guideline of 2018 and the budgetary allocation and expenditure of counties in relation to the devolved function under the education sector will also be looked at. Finally, we will continue engagements with the governors on the inquiry into the implementation of the early childhood education and vocational education and training under the VTCs, the policies and the various policies that they have at the county level. The committee will thereafter present a progress report on the inquiry for consideration by this House on the above. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and the office of the clerk of the Senate for the continuous support accorded to the committee in executing its mandate. Lastly, I also wish to thank the members of the committee for their diligence, commitment, and contributions during the committee activities. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senator Margaret Kamar, Vice Chair of the Standing Committee on Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Education. That is the end of the statements. So I wish to give a few minutes to open up on comments on the statements. And want to generally open from 52.1, 53.1, and 52 and 51.1 C. No. And on the statement from the chairs of committees. So, to save on time, I think we should use as little time as possible as we make those comments. Maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, so that by 4 that we can conclude on that matter, so that we go to the next order, number 8. So we first start with Senator Sifuna Edwin.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'd like to comment on the statement that has been brought by the Honourable Catherine Muma on evictions in Old Ngara Estate. Speaker, towards the end of May, the MCA for Ngara, the Honourable Chege Mwaura, called me very frantically that the City County of Nairobi was conducting evictions in Old Ngara Estate. Speaker, we tried between the MCA and myself to intervene in this matter. There is a lady, I think she's a chief officer, called Lady Mathia at the Nairobi County government, who has been the most intransigent officer in that county government. She has given us so many problems, Honourable Speaker. Members of the Housing Committee of this House will know that this matter does not just stop in Old Ngara. The residents of Woodley, Honourable Speaker, have faced the same spectre. And in fact, in the case of Woodley, people like Sam Gashago, the chairman there, have actually gone up to the court and obtained court orders. Honourable Speaker, there was a court order that was issued on the 9th of May, stopping those evictions in Woodley Estate. The chief officer has continued to disobey those court orders. Honourable Speaker, they are even using goons to evict people from Woodley and these other estates that we're talking about. There's a gentleman called Robert Kang'ethe, who's the owner of plot number 357 in Buruburu Riverbank Settlement Scheme. He's always in my office here because he similarly has a court order that was issued on 2021 requiring the Housing Department of the County Government of Nairobi to revert ownership to his name because they had given an illegal allocation to somebody else. Honourable Speaker, the MCAs of Nairobi have done their bit. They have gone as far as passing a censure motion against this very officer because of her intransigence and the disobedience of court orders that have emanated from these cases. Honourable Speaker, I want the Senate to know that as we speak today, and including the statement that was brought by the Honourable Okiya Omtata, there are almost 3 pending standing invitations to the County Government of Nairobi to discuss these matters, including matters of development. Just in the last 1 month, a meeting with the Nairobi County Government at the Public Accounts Committee was postponed because of the unavailability of the governor. Last week, actually it was Thursday, the committee that has just given a statement here on education, the county government of Nairobi was supposed to appear before the Senate to discuss questions of ECDE development in Nairobi. There are whole wards, Honorable Speaker, including wards like Roysambu, who do not have a single ECD. And I saw the members of the committee who had risen very early to come and listen to the issues, lamenting because the governor just did not appear. Then the devolution committee has invited the governor of Nairobi. We were going to discuss all issues of stalled projects in Nairobi. That meeting was also rescheduled. And I know there is a standing invitation to the County Public Accounts Committee to tour Nairobi to be able to have conversations about the state of projects in Nairobi, including the roads that Senator Omtata has asked about. So I am happy and I'm grateful to the committees of this House because they have come through for the people of Nairobi all the times, especially the Housing Committee. We have sat with them because this thing of the waiver that was supposed to have been in place during COVID is the one that is bringing confusion. Honorable Speaker, the county is unable to compute how much each tenant owns. How much each tenant owes, because there's this confusion. The tenants are saying, but we were given a waiver during Sonko's time. How are you still using that to compute my arrears? So I thank that, the committees of this House that we have made an attempt to bring order to Nairobi. But as you can see, Honorable Speaker, we have a lot of pending meetings with committees of this House, and we want to urge the governor of Nairobi to show up to these meetings so that we can have these conversations for the benefit of our people. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Sifuna. Next is Senator Boni Karwale.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to add my voice on the very important statement raised by the Senator of Kilifi in respect of the poor condition of learning infrastructure in schools there. Mr. Speaker, whereas this matter might appear to be a Kilifi issue, it should prick the conscience of this Senate. Where are we with the education of children in public schools in Kenya today? The new system, competency-based curriculum / education, poses serious challenges in terms of affordability, in terms of, Mr. Speaker, availability of teachers, and in terms of lack of classrooms, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this matter is so grave. And if you want to appreciate the damage we are causing this generation, just picture this. The Speaker of the Senate, Amason Kingi, came from a public school in Kilifi and ended up being the Speaker and a top lawyer in this country. The Senator of Tana River, Danson Mungatana, came from a public school and ended up being a senator and a top lawyer in this country. Not to mention, Mr. Speaker, the Senator of Kakamega, Dr. Boni Khalwale, came from a public school and I'm a top doctor in this country and a senator. Mr. Speaker, imagine the number of children we are locking out, the number of Skingis, the number of Khalwales, the number of Mungatanas, the number of all of you. We must get it right. Mr. Speaker, as I say this, all our public schools are encouraged by the good pronouncements from the government, namely rolling out decapitation money. That money, Mr. Speaker, is only in the headlines of newspapers. It is only in the beautiful speeches by the ministers. The money for decapitation, but for capitation, the money for capitation, Mr. Speaker, is not on the ground. It's a big challenge. And now we are being told we have 50,000 ghost learners. We have thousands, 33 ghost schools. Where is the government? How can the government allow rich people in Jogo House here collecting money in the name of schools that they own, because they own those schools on computers? We must refuse and call out these civil servants who are collecting money in the name of capitation. Finally, Mr. Speaker, something even more grave is happening in Kilifi. Some religious group is very generous, giving our children lunch, but with a condition that before you take my lunch, you must recite some prayer in some religious organization that I don't understand. Mr. Speaker, this is very sad that at this time of development in Kenya, our children have to eat conditionally based on the fact that they can recite the teachings of some religious organization. Mr. Speaker, I condemn this, and I urge this House that we must get our education system in public schools right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So now, Senators, because I can see there is no timing, please save some minutes for your colleagues when you get a chance. Senator Beatrice Ogola.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to start from where Senator Boni Aluale has left on the issue of public schools, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, do we know that most of the managers of our schools, of public schools, and especially the primary schools, are spending all their days in cybers, in the many urban centers around those schools, because the ministry requires some data which even when they send is never rightly taken in, and it is for those reasons that those schools are not even able to get their capitation. So, Honorable Speaker, the situation of public schools must be looked into. Honorable Speaker, just the last times, a number of schools, or primary schools from where I come from, after waiting for monies to run their schools, were only able to get very little. Some of them 18,000, some of them 20, as low as 1,000 shillings. The head teachers of those schools are not able to run schools. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Education must put their house in order unless their intention is to ensure that our school system collapses in the primary, the public sector. And Honorable Speaker, on the same context, Honorable Speaker, there is a major problem even at the registration of the learners for exams. We have a lot of complaints from the head teachers of schools where they say when they send the details of females, they get back registration in boys' schools. Honorable Speaker, and you know what that will lead to in the future, such inconsistencies. So, Honorable Speaker, as I say, the ministry must get its house in order and ensure things are done rightly. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I want to comment on the issue of the eviction of households in the old Ngara estates in Nairobi City County and any other eviction, Honorable Speaker. That evictions must be done rightly and with a human face, Honorable Speaker. The public must be engaged over those evictions, notices must be given, and reasons must be given for those evictions. And when they are done, Honorable Speaker, we do not want as a county to see, as a country, to see families thrown out in the cold, including children, people who have lived in estates for years, Honorable Speaker, some of them with the right documents, but because there are people who are interested in getting ownership of those places, then they end up being thrown out for no reason. Honorable Speaker, why should a public officer not do things wrongly? Why should a public officer in the name of a chief officer who is paid by public money mishandle members of the public and does not want to listen to people? Honorable Speaker, I want to support that must be looked into. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, I want to support the statement by the Senator of Machakos on the protection of road infrastructure, not only in Machakos, but in all our urban space, Honorable Speaker. The infrastructure that we have has a capacity of vehicles that can be used in those roads. And so, Honorable Speaker, we must have a system that is able to enforce certain rules in our urban centers if we have to see these roads are protected for use by the public. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Very well. Senator Cheluyot Harold Kipkurui, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to join my colleagues in adding my voice to this conversation begun by the Senator for Kilifi and Leader of Minority on the state of public institutions in Kilifi County, and join those that are quickly saying that this is not just about Kilifi alone, but it's a national-wide conversation. I know this administration, Mr. Speaker, has tried to address this particular challenge, but a lot still needs to be done. I know, Mr. Speaker, that in the last, I think, 1 or 2 years, I saw the reports from Ministry of Education that 23,000 plus classrooms have been built and more than 76,000 teachers employed. But that is a drop in the ocean, Mr. Speaker, based on the state of education in our public institutions and the desire, Mr. Speaker, to bring it up to the level that it was back in yesteryears when many of us, Mr. Speaker, went through public education. I'm a product of public education, Mr. Speaker, from primary all the way to university, Mr. Speaker. And I shudder to imagine if I had been born in this generation and this was my time to go to school, Mr. Speaker, the quality of the education that I would receive, whether it's comparable to what I got in those years, Mr. Speaker. We must be concerned that despite the fact that education continues to be the biggest consumer of our public budget, I think this year's budget is over 700 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, we must be able to see where that money is going. I appreciate, Mr. Speaker, what has been done, for example, in the share system. What that share system has brought to this country, Mr. Speaker, is that citizens are now able to see which are these institutions that benefit from monies that have been contributed to the public. I want to challenge the members of the Education Committee that we must push the Ministry of Education to publish the list of the institutions per county that are benefiting from this school capitation, Mr. Speaker, and the number of students in that particular institution, so that we slay this dragon of ghost students and ghost institutions in our public education, Mr. Speaker. 700 billion shillings is not small money. We need to see, Mr. Speaker, the value for that particular money. And the only way, if we can get to know if indeed Kenyan taxpayers are getting value for money, Mr. Speaker, is if this information is made public, Mr. Speaker. And I believe with all these schemes and NEMIS, these public infrastructure, IT systems that the Ministry of Education keep talking to us about, isn't it time that they lay this information out in the public so that I know in Kericho County, Mr. Speaker, what is the number of public institutions that are receiving the portion of this 700 billion, how many students are being catered for, so that if, Mr. Speaker, there are ghost institutions, the people, the young people, and all the guys that consume public information, Mr. Speaker, will be quickly able to point out. This same conversation about our public institution is the same mess that was created out of the desire to turn institutions that societies fundraised for, Mr. Speaker. I know you grew up in a generation where people used to fundraise for public institutions long before the days of CDF, and you contributed your cows, your goats, your sheep. Then after a certain number of years, there was a change in policy. And you are told those institutions have now been converted to quote-unquote national schools, Mr. Speaker. I am speaking like this because I am pained by what happened in Litain Boys High School, Mr. Speaker, 2 nights ago. You saw the destruction that was meted out on that particular institution by people who are rampaging and were out on a strike, Mr. Speaker. That is an institution that people contributed their monies, Mr. Speaker. It's not just public funds that has built that institution. People did fundraisers over the years to build that school to that particular level. Then some truant young men just comes out of nowhere, Mr. Speaker, and ban the institution, say we don't like the principal and this and that. That is a great disservice, Mr. Speaker. And we must have a conversation about these so-called national institutions, Mr. Speaker, that came out of that policy that was made, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, so that people who appreciate the pain and the struggle that it went to put certain institutions in place can be the majority of that particular institution, Mr. Speaker. It is my hope that, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education will quickly step into action, ensure that the root cause of the problems in many of the public institutions across the country, Mr. Speaker, that are going out on strike, Mr. Speaker, is addressed so that our young people can learn in education institutions that we are all proud to be associated. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. But if I look at both sides of this House this afternoon, I don't know who did not pass through the public institutions, right from primary, secondary, up to, I have one suspect only. I have one suspect only from my left, but I'm not very sure about it. Okay, next is Senator Mwijihaji Mohamed Faki, Senator wa Mombasa.
Mheshimiwa Spika, hata mimi nilipitia shule za umma kutoka Bomu Primary School, Juda Day Secondary School, Alidiza Mvizram na baadaye chuo kikuu cha Nairobi. Mheshimiwa Spika, nimesimama kuchangia maombi ya taarifa yaliyoletwa bungeni na seneta wa Kilifi ambaye pia ni kiongozi wa wachache katika bunge hili. Mheshimiwa Spika, elimu kama waliotanguliwa wamesema ndio urathi mkubwa ambao wazazi wanaweza kuachia watoto wao. Lakini tunaona kwamba hali ya elimu inazidi kuzorota, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kuhusiana na sehemu kama vile ambazo za ganze ambayo juzi ilikuwa kwenye vyombo vya habari kuhusiana na chakula ambacho wanapewa wanafunzi katika sehemu zile. Mheshimiwa Spika, habari ile ilikuwa ni ya kupotosha kwa sababu wale ambao walileta habari zile, Mheshimiwa Spika, wangeangazia zaidi ya zile hali ya zile shule ambazo vile ziko kuliko kupiga kelele kwa masuala ya chakula ambacho chakula kilikuwa kimeweza kutolewa. Lile shirika limeweza kutoa chakula katika maeneo yale kwa zaidi ya miaka 4 na hakuna alilalamika kwamba mtoto wake amerudi nyumbani akasema kwamba leo amekuwa Hare Krishna ama leo amekuwa Muislamu ama leo amekuwa Mkristo. Hakuna mtu ambaye asema hili. Lakini watu wamechukua jambo la dini kulipotosha ili wanafunzi sasa wameweza kukosa chakula katika maeneo yale. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna sehemu nyingi zile ambazo ni za mbali kabisa. Watoto wanatoka nyumbani asubuhi, hajakunywa chai wala hajakula chochote. Anakwenda shule mpaka jioni, kile chakula atakachokula jioni ndio chakula peke yake ameweza kupata kwa siku ile. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, hili swala la miundombinu katika shule zetu ni swala ambalo lazima tuliangazie kwa undani zaidi. Mheshimiwa Spika, kule kwetu Mombasa kuna wodi ambayo inaitwa Mwakirunge, na katika Mwakirunge kuna kijiji kinaitwa Marimani ambapo hapo kumejengwa ECD ambayo ECD ile ilijengwa na kwa ufadhili wa balozi ya Amerika mwaka 2006. Mpaka leo hakujajengwa ECD mpya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na wazazi wameweza kujitahidi wakajenga yao ya udongo ambayo inatumika hivi sasa, lakini tayari kuna msongamano mkubwa, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hivyo wakati magavana, Mheshimiwa Spika, wanazunguka wakifanya mikutano na kufanya mikakati ambayo haina mwelekeo, elimu inapata shida, Mheshimiwa Spika, katika sehemu zake. Na juzi Mheshimiwa Sifuna ambaye ni kiranja, ni kiongozi, ni naibu kiranja hapa, lakini vile vile ni katibu mkuu wa chama cha ODM alipokuwa Mombasa, alipiga kelele sana kuhusiana na watu kumkosoa gavana wa Mombasa. Lakini nashangaa yeye katika bunge hili anamkosoa gavana wake. Anamkosoa gavana wake katika bunge hili. Ni masikitiko kwamba ameweza kuondoka, lakini ni makosa. Amefika Mombasa anasema kwamba hakuna kumkosoa gavana, lakini hapa anamkosoa gavana wa Nairobi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hivyo tunasema lazima magavana wamulikwe, lazima wamulikwe kwa sababu ndio kazi ambayo tumepewa sisi maseneta. Lazima tuamulike na kama kuna makosa yafanyike. Nilifurahi juzi wakati
Seneta Mohamed Faki, kuna hoja ya nidhamu hapa kutoka kwa seneta wa Homa Bay. Seneta Kajwang.
Nilikuwa nataka
Bwana Spika, je, ni nidhamu kwa seneta wa Mombasa kumkashifu seneta wa Nairobi kwamba yeye huwa azungumzi maneno yakienda Mrama Nairobi, lakini maneno yakienda Mrama Mombasa Mheshimiwa Speaker, am I allowed to change the language midstream?
Endelea vizuri tu, endelea tu maliza.
So, Mheshimiwa Speaker, je ni sawa kwa seneta wa Mombasa kumkashifu seneta wa Nairobi kwamba maneno yakienda Mrama Mombasa ananyamaza na maneno yakienda Mrama Nairobi ananyamaza na anaongea, na seneta wa Mombasa anajua kwamba seneta wa Nairobi huwa anawakashifu viongozi wote, hata wale wakubwa, wale wa Nairobi, Rais Ruto, hata saa zingine anakosana na kiongozi wetu Raila Odinga. Kweni sasa huyu gavana wa Mombasa amekuwa Mungu mwingine mkubwa kuliko Rais Ruto ama kuwa mkubwa kuliko Raila Odinga? Afafanue mbona anaona Sifuna atamwogopa Abdul Swamad ilhali amuogopi William Ruto.
Hili jambo limeleta tumbo joto sana. Naomba nimpatie kiongozi wa wengi, Seneta Aaron Cheruiyot.
Speaker, ni kinaya cha kutamausha kwamba seneta wa Homa Bay, rafiki yangu Seneta Moses Kajwang', ambaye ni mwenyekiti wa kamati ya uhasibu hapa bungeni na ndiye tunayemtegemea kuwakosoa magavana kwa yale machafu yote yanaendelea katika kaunti zetu, anasimama hivi leo na kukubaliana na seneta wa Nairobi kwa matamshi yale alisema kule Mombasa, eti gavana wa Mombasa hafai kuulizwa swali lolote. Ambapo inafanya nijiulize, je, tuko na mwenyekiti ambaye anajua kazi yake, Bwana Speaker, ama analinda kaunti zingine zaidi ya zingine, Mr. Speaker? Ningependa kujua mambo haya.
Haya. Sasa tumusikize seneta wa Mombasa.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, Seneta Kajwang' hakuwa na hoja ya nidhamu. Nafikiri ilikuwa ni hoja ya maoni ya kusahihisha, yani kunijulisha. Ni kusema tu kwamba ipo haja ya kuamulika magavana. Ni lazima wamulike kwa sababu sheria inatupa sisi nafasi ya kuamulika. Na nampongeza Seneta Omtata, jana alipata judgment ambayo juzi alipata judgment ambayo ilitilia nguvu kazi yetu sisi maseneta kuamulika magavana. Kwa hivyo lazima na Senator Mazayo, lazima kule Kilifi tumulike Mung'aro, tuone kwamba anahakikisha kwamba kila eneo watu wanapata chakula, wanafunzi wanapata chakula, kwa sababu eneo la Kilifi, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ni kubwa sana. Ukiangalia kama hiyo Ganze constituency ni sehemu kubwa sana, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ambao wazazi wengi katika maeneo yale ni maskini na watoto wanasoma bila ya kula chakula chochote asubuhi akitoka kwenda shule. Mheshimiwa Speaker, kwa kumalizia ni kwamba sisi kama Senate lazima tuongeze bidii katika kamati zetu. Tumeona kamati ya ukulima imeweza kutoa ripoti yake, kamati ya elimu tulikuwa nao Mombasa wakati fulani ikafanya kazi nzuri sana kuzuri ECD na eneo nyingine. Kwa hivyo zile kamati zetu lazima ziwe na nguvu. Na nataka kupongeza mwenyekiti wa kamati ya sheria endelezi, yani Delegated Legislation Committee, ambayo yuko ni mwenyekiti wetu kwa kazi nzuri ambayo anafanya, japokuwa mara nyingine huwa kidogo anadegarega wakati tunataka kuregesha zile kanuni ambazo hazifai. Huwa mara nyingi ana upendeleo kwa upande wa serikali, lakini hiyo tutaweza kusahihisha naye. Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Haya, asante Senator Mudigi Alexander.
Asante Bwana Speaker kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kuchangia mjadala unaendelea kuhusu mambo ya elimu katika Kilifi County. Asante sana Senator Matayo, Minority Leader, kwa sababu mambo ya elimu ni kitu inafaa iwekwe nguvu katika Kenya mzima, mambo ya shule ya nasari na pia mambo ya primary na sekondari na university. Mambo ya elimu, wakati kulisemekana wazazi waweze kutoa pesa, ni kama ilete shinda Bwana Spika, kwa sababu ukiangalia shule nyingi ambaye ya msingi, shule nyingi imekuwa na shinda, kwa sababu unakuta mambo ya chakula iko na shinda, mambo ya maji iko na shinda, pia ile madarasa imejengwa pale iko na shinda. Niko na mfano kama katika Embu County, katika Kiambere Ward, Mbere South, wiki mbili iliyopita upepo ulipitia kwa shule moja ambaye ni ya Karora Primary School, ikapepa mapati yote na ile shule imewachwa bila kitu. Bwana Spika, kumekuwa na shinda, na tumeona hii serikali ya muungano ama serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ikiajiri walimu 76 na imefanya kazi nzuri sana. Na pia tunasikia hii serikali pia itaajiri walimu 20,000, lakini upande wa ya mijengo ile ilijengwa wakati sisi tulikuwa wanafunzi, hiyo mijengo mpaka sasa ndio inaendelea. Pia tungeomba Bwana Spika, mambo ya elimu iweze kuangaliwa, mambo ya mijengo, na pia mwenyekiti wa mazingira ako katika nyumba hii na mara mingi amekuwa tembea hapa na pale, Bwana Kajwang, na pia tungeomba aweze kusema katika Kenya hii shule zote ni wangapi wamepatiwa miti, ama watoto wetu wamepatiwa miti na namna gani, ndio sile upepo ikuja ndio ile madarasa isiweze kupomolewa. Pia mambo ya maji, unakuta watoto wetu wako na shinda. Kwa hivyo ndio tunasema kila county iweze kujengewa mbawa za maji na mambo mengi. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, hii mambo yote ni mambo ya kuhusunisha, na ni asante sana kwa Senator wa Kilifi, kwa sababu sio Kilifi peke yake, ni kaunti zote. Kwa hivyo nataka niseme Bwana Spika, katika Embu pia kuna shinda na kaunti zile zingine. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, kama tunataka kuunga mkono mambo ya elimu, mambo ya competition mpaka ifanye kazi, mambo ya mijengo mpaka ifanye kazi, mambo ya mazingira mpaka ifanye kazi, mpaka watoto wetu wale wanataka kusoma elimu ya kisasa mpaka tuwaunge mkono na kila kitu, kwa sababu tumeona watoto wengi wakienda kwa private schools, na pia hata zile private schools imekuwa na shinda Bwana Spika, kwa sababu tumeona wakati watoto wamekuwa wengi, mambo ya inspection imekuwa na shinda. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mimi naunga hiyo mjadala mkono, kwa sababu nataka nikumbushe ile shule ya ile ili pepo na upepo ni sisi tunachanga. Mimi nilikuwa mmoja, hata naomba kama mkubwa wangu majority yako hapa, ninataka nimuombe hata mchango hata kidogo. Nikienda siku ya Jumatatu napeleka mchango na kuomba 100, na pia na wale wengine watanichangia niweze kwenda kusaidia. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, sisi tukiwa masinani kama Embu County na zile county zingine tuko na shinda. Asante Bwana Spika. Majority najua umesikia hiyo.
Seneta Mudigi, hii nyumba sio ya kutafuta hera ya kwenda kwa mashule. Kwa hivyo hiyo ungeona yeye nyuma ya hema. Kwa hivyo kwa michango yako seneti ichukuliwe kama ni nyumba ya kutafuta hera za kupeleka hapa na pale. Serikali ya Kenya inapaswa ijenge hiyo shule. Sio kiongozi wa wengi. Umweke katika ramani ya Kenya ya kwamba ndiye anapaswa ajenge ofisi ya nyumba ya shule yenu huko Embu. Senator David Wakoli.
Thank you Honorable Speaker kwa nafasi ambayo umenipa kuchangia hoja ambazo wenzangu wameweza kuchangia, hususan ubomoaji wa maeneo ya makazi ya Wakenya katika maeneo mbalimbali hapa jijini Nairobi. Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba utulivu kwa baadhi waliokuwa wanabwata. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo la kuhuzunisha sana iwapo maafisa wa serikali za kaunti wanachukua mamlaka mikononi mwao na kufanya jinsi wanavyotaka. Ningeomba kamati husika ya kamati ya nyumba, miradi na miundombinu, Mheshimiwa Spika, iweze kumuita gavana na makatibu hawa ili waweze kuelezwa jinsi serikali inafanya kazi. Lakini nimesikiza kwa makini wakisema kwamba vyeti vya umiliki wa ardhi hizi, vyeti hivi vimebadilishwa. Watu wengine wamepewa na waliokuwa na vimiliki wamenyang'anywa. Tungependa idara ya kupigana dhidi ya ufisadi vile vile na ujasusi wao wepesi, jinsi nimeona wiki iliyopita wakiwa wepesi wakisema kwamba baadhi rafiki yangu waziri fulani aweze kubeba msalaba wake. Naomba pia waamke haraka tuwaone wakuwatembelea magavana ambao wanapora pesa za umma haraka na kwa wepesi. Sio tu kwamba wao wanakinzana katika koti na kutofanya kazi yao jinsi inavyotakikana. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la vyuo vya chekechea, nursery schools, Mheshimiwa Spika, ukienda maeneo mbalimbali humu nchini utaona miundo ni tofauti, madarasa ni tofauti, madawati ama vifaa vya matumizi ya kufunza watoto ni tofauti. Kuna shule ambazo nasikiza hapa wanapewa vyakula, kuna wengine hakuna chakula, wengine wanapewa maziwa, wengine wanapewa ubwabwa, yani uji. Lazima kuwe na mfumo ambao unaeleweka. Na vile vile tuhakikishe kwamba kamati ya elimu inahakikisha kwamba kuna mfumo unaoeleweka, na katika bajeti za kaunti pesa zinazoeleweka kuendeleza masomo ya vyuo vya chekechea. Lakini wapo tutakuwa tunatoa tu hoja hapa bunge, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa furahisha wa Kenya kwamba tumekasirika, Mheshimiwa Spika, na kutoa misamiati mizito. Hatuwasaidii watoto. Lazima katika bajeti tuone fedha, lazima katika utekelezaji wa miradi hii tuone ripoti, ili watoto wanapokuwa tunaweza kusema kwamba kweli tulitunga sheria tukafuata na masomo yakaendelea. Mheshimiwa Spika, kaunti hizi lazima pia ziweke fedha katika vyuo anuwai. Kwa kimombo tunasema polytechnics, Mheshimiwa Spika. Wamejikita katika kuweka miradi ambayo wanapata kipato cha haraka. 10% ama 20% ya kandarasi wanaletewa hela, Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini hawaweki fedha kwa miradi ambayo inasaidia watoto wa nchi ya Kenya. Vijana kule nje ukienda, Mheshimiwa, katika kaunti, vyuo anuwai, Mheshimiwa Spika, havina wanafunzi, havina vifaa vya kufunza, hakuna madarasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kinaya kwamba tunasema ugatuzi unaafiki matarajio ya vijana. Lazima tuhakikishe kwamba vijana hawa wanapewa vyuo anuwai ambavyo wanasoma na vile vile wanaweza kutafuta ajira baadaye. Mheshimiwa Spika, nikimalizia, swala zito la usafi wa jiji la Nairobi, barabara hapa Nairobi, taa hapa Nairobi, maji machafu na takataka hapa Nairobi. Hawa viongozi wote ambao wako hapa, Mheshimiwa Spika, wako na makazi hapa Nairobi na wana haki ya kuzungumza kwa niaba ya watu wanaoishi katika maeneo wanaoishi. Na tunapozungumza hivi ni muhimu gavana wa Nairobi ajue. Juzi, Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kiongozi wa wengi, Mheshimiwa Aaron, juzi Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga aliturai kwamba tuachie viongozi wa wadi nafasi kumulika na kuatia msasa magavana. Kutia msasa magavana. Ghafla tukagundua kwamba walipoanza kupandisha sauti na kunyosha palipo kelele, wakaambiwa enda pole, punguza sauti. Sijui ni sauti unapokula utoi sauti ama unapotoa sauti unafinywa. Lazima viongozi wa wadi wapewe nafasi kupambana na magavana madhalimu kama huyu ambaye tunaona hapa Nairobi. Mheshimiwa Spika, usiku huwezi tembea hapa Nairobi. Either utakutana na kinyezi hewani ama kwa mashinani, utakutana na majitaka barabarani, utakutana na giza mahali ambapo huwezi tembea. Na huku watu wanataka tu, unajua, na kuna wacha mambo. Mheshimiwa Spika, kaunti ya Nairobi, Wakenya wote kutoka tabaka zote wanaishi hapa Nairobi. Na nina haki ya kusema kwamba ninahuzunika na wapiga kura wa Nairobi. Ninaonea huruma. Na iwapo tunapenda Kenya hii, lazima tuseme ukweli. Hata kwangu Bungoma kuna shida na lazima tupambane na hawa watu. Awe mpande wa serikali ama sio wa serikali. Mugala muwe na haki mpe. Kaende Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kwamba ukweli usemwe.
Sasa malizia.
Naomba Mheshimiwa Spika, najua wengi wamekwazwa mioyo, naomba niwachie hapo, tutakutana baadaye.
The whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support two very important statements that have been brought about by two distinguished senators. One, briefly, is to comment on the statement brought about by Senator Omtata in terms of, really it boils down to the issue of management of the city. Mr. Speaker, before this constitution, during the BBI period, some of us had seen an opportunity to be able to bring in positive change to how a city like Nairobi is managed. We compared it with a city like Addis Ababa, which has got about 10 sub-counties in it, managed by different authorities, to be able to ensure that they deal with waste management, they deal with sanitation, and they also deal with service delivery. Mr. Speaker, when we were talking about the issue of managing or lamenting here on how filthy and dirty the streets of Nairobi are, I think it is about time that we become more future-centric and come up with a solution on what we are going to do, because every single day as we talk, we will never solve the problem of Nairobi. Nairobi will continue being filthy dirty. Mr. Speaker, if you go to Enterprise Road, you'll be shocked. You know, there's a place where they sell pallets, and right next to it, I think it's next to one plastic manufacturing company. It is a filthy area. You know, it is literally converted into a dump site. It's the middle of the road, converted into a dump site. If you go to Isili, the same things. Mr. Speaker, it is about time that we start thinking about how do we manage Nairobi. And ultimately, my proposal will be Nairobi should never have been made a county. Nairobi should not be made a county. Nairobi should be made a capital city that is managed like other big capital cities are managed. A city like Addis Ababa, a city like Washington, D.C. Because what is happening right now, we have been told of problems. Earlier on, the Senator of Nairobi was talking about the issues of post-COVID. When people, houses, when they were given a waiver because of the hardship. Then later on, now we have changed the strategy. What is happening there as to why tenants are being evicted from their houses is not really because of a rent dispute issue. It is because of these affordable housing redevelopment strategies that are coming up. And instead of taking those people and sitting down with them and saying, let us find a way that we build these houses for you to be able to live here and continue contributing to this economy, we now kick them out. Those are things that, Mr. Speaker, that needs to be thoroughly investigated and a solution found, one that will be able to take care of the needs of these citizens who live in Nairobi. It is true, all of us live in Nairobi. Members from all the 47 counties live in Nairobi. So we must be able to come up with a better way of managing this city. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to waste a lot of time on these issues, is the statement raised by the good Senator of Kilifi. Mr. Speaker, we were in Kilifi a while ago, and all of us were shocked with the level of poverty in Kilifi. We talked about affirmative action in Kilifi. We talked about the challenges that Kilifi County faces. The same challenges that Kilifi County is facing right now. In fact, it made me say that we in Narok County are better. Because when you look at the schools, the issues that have been raised here, Mr. Speaker, by the distinguished senator from Kilifi are issues that requires us to be very keen on also following up. Number one, why is it that in Kilifi, and not only Kilifi, but in a lot of rural counties, maybe Tana River, maybe even part of Narok, the Ministry of Education has not fully carried out an audit to find out how deplorable primary schools are and put a budget based on counties, not just a budget based on who you know. A lot of governors are now building primary schools. That is not their responsibility. That is the responsibility of the national government. So the first issue that the senator raises is an issue that requires us to follow up. The Ministry, the Committee on Education should follow up to ensure that that matter of deplorable schools, primary schools in Kilifi, is taken care of. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the good distinguished senator raised an issue of food for kids. It is true, recently we saw a video in social media, in the mainstream, where kids were being asked to recite Hare Krishna for them to be given food. For that, Mr. Speaker, I only have to go to the Bible, and I'm happy that the pastor is here. I think it is Matthew 3:6, where it says that you should not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. When you give, give in secrecy. You know, if you're willing to give, whoever has gone there, don't force the kids to recite, you know, so that you can be able to give them food. I was sitting down here and we were discussing it with my minority leader, and he said a long time ago, some of us were being told to go to Catholic to school, and we have to be able to do the Lord's Prayer before we're given food. Is that right? That is not right. Why are we still poor in this country? Why can we not be happy with what we have and we share among each other? The amount of money that goes to Kilifi is a lot of money. But is it proportional to the amount of money that is budgeted by the Ministry of Education to be able to support the kids in Kilifi? So, Mr. Speaker, these issues that have been raised are important. Number one, the Ministry of Education now needs to carry out an audit to figure out how are you expensing out your budget. Are you expensing out your budget to be able to offer affirmative action to support other schools? Or number two, what can we do to ensure that these kids who cannot afford a meal are actually taken care of? Those are issues that I hope will not disappear in this statement as we try to sensationalize the issues of poverty in the country, that we follow through, and I hope our committee will do the same. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, if you can realize I have extended the time and allocated for the comments on statements. But I have 8 minutes. At 5, we should cruise on this matter. So if you allow 2 minutes each, I will get 2 from this side and 2 from the other side. Senator Mungatana Danson, then we conclude. 2 minutes, kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is a statement that was raised before this House, Mr. Speaker, on the tender that is supposed to procure the currency for central bank on behalf of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, a lot of our colleagues have not noticed it, but the essence of that statement, Mr. Speaker, is to ask and question the accountability mechanism within the central bank. Mr. Speaker, we approved the chairman of the board of directors of Central Bank here, and we asked him to be a good custodian of the funds that are allocated to Central Bank of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, to hear that they have removed the people who used to produce the currency in this country, they have used some mechanism that is dubious, a procedure that is not clear, a mechanism that is not following the law on procurement. And that has costed the taxpayers millions more than the previous contractor, Mr. Speaker, is a question that should concern all of us. That they have short-circuited the system so that they covered themselves under the shred of security to short-circuit the system. Mr. Speaker, I urge the chairman of the Committee on Finance to really go into the depth of this. We want to know the truth. Kenyans want to know the truth. Anything that has to do with money, Mr. Speaker, in these hard times, we want to know the truth. And we want to know the owners of the companies who have been favored and who are the real owners behind those companies. Because this country, Mr. Speaker, If we are to fight corruption, we must fight corruption at all levels, even at the level of Central Bank of Kenya. If the Auditor General is raising questions, Mr. Speaker, they should be the first persons to run to come and explain themselves before the committee of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I urge the committee to call them as of yesterday so that this statement can be disposed of. Kenyans are worried that even the central bank itself is procuring in a manner that is costing them money, and yet we could have done an easier procurement. And it is not transparent, Mr. Speaker. This is the biggest economy in East and Central Africa. How can the Central Bank of Kenya behave in a manner that is not transparent? Mr. Speaker, I urge that the committee goes to the depth of this matter so that Kenyans can know the truth. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Osos Ngonfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to make a comment on the statement by Senator of Kilifi regarding the school infrastructure in Kilifi. Mr. Speaker, it is sad that we hear that some counties do not have proper school infrastructure. And we have been made to believe, especially in this House, that the CDF is doing wonders. It is ensuring that we have good infrastructure in school. And I've been saying the only fund that is working in this country is CDF fund. The county, the money that goes to the counties is not doing anything. But now when you hear examples from counties like Kilifi, that the schools are in deplorable conditions, Mr. Speaker, then you begin to question that narrative that of CDF, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even in my own county, I have visited many schools that have very bad infrastructure because of poor workmanship of some of the projects under CDF. And you go there and you are being asked to give some money basically to repair buildings, your own money as a senator, knowing very well senators do not have a fund. Mr. Speaker, I think this is the highest moment that we need to question this CDF. Because this CDF is just a political money to help members of the National Assembly run around over the weekend pretending to launch projects which they are not even indicating that they are a project of government of Kenya. Some of them are even given bursaries and saying they are the ones giving bursaries. Mr. Speaker, I think this Senate should take this matter very seriously and question the existence of this CDF, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a deputy party leader of ODM, I support my party leader when he says that this CDF must be rechanneled to our counties. So that money, we will now question the governors how they are using that money. Because CDF, when you see the members of the National Assembly fighting harder to retain CDF, then you know there is something they're trying to hide, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, something has to be done, and I want to join the Senator for Kilifi to say that it is not just Kilifi. Many other counties have challenges with the school infrastructure because of, one, the way the CDF is distributed in the constituencies, two, the quality of workmanship on the buildings that are done by some of the CDF committees, Mr. Speaker. After 1 or 2 months, you hear the floor has gone. So the principal will now start running around and saying he needs money to repair a floor. And someone has been paid for that money, Mr. Speaker, to do that work. So I think this is an eye-opener, and I want to request the Committee of Education to not only focus on Kilifi, but all the other counties, Mr. Speaker, so that we can have a report, a serious report, that will indicate the performance of CDF in matters of school infrastructure across the country, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Okay, Senator Chalagay Samson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, I want to say on the issue of Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, I think let us not waste time. Mr. Speaker, Nairobi is pathetic, Mr. Speaker. It's a crime scene. Mr. Speaker, I wish the members of County Assembly of Nairobi should have impeached Governor Sakaja a long time ago. Because this city, Mr. Speaker, when you drive around, it is in total chaos messed, Mr. Speaker. You go to Isili, you go within downtown CBD, Kilimani, and many areas, Mr. Speaker. In fact, to make it worse, Mr. Speaker, the information I have is that even the governor has relocated from official office of the governor here in the CBD to go to Riverside in Westlands, which is hampering access to the public to seek for services, Mr. Speaker. I want to appeal, Mr. Speaker, that even as we go into the future, MCS must do their job, Mr. Speaker. In fact, if you look at the performance, I saw the other day, Mr. Speaker, let me use an example because I sit in Public Accounts Committee. The revenue potential of Nairobi is 63 billion, but they are only collecting 13 billion, Mr. Speaker. 50 billion plus is lost in any financial year under on-source revenue, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, and the only advantage Senator Sakaja, Governor Sakaja has is only protection that he gets from the party leader of ODM and other interests, Mr. Speaker, in this republic. We must be told, Mr. Speaker, we must be told, why are we protected, Mr. Speaker? I cannot be challenged, Mr. Speaker, because the MCS were called, and it is in the public domain that the MCS were called and told them, go slow, Mr. Speaker, on the impeachment proceedings, Mr. Speaker.
There is a point of order from Senator Sos, the deputy party leader of ODM.
Correct.
Speaker, I didn't want to interrupt my good neighbor and friend, Cherege. But, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to my party, I will be there to protect my party. Standing order number 105, is it in order for Senator Cherege to claim that Sakaja is getting protection from the leader of ODM? Does he have any evidence to table to this House? And if he doesn't have evidence, Mr. Speaker, can you take action against Senator Cherege for those reckless comments in this House?
Proceed and conclude, Senator Chalge.
In fact, I'm just getting started. Mr. Speaker, sorry, I respect your direction, Mr. Speaker. I respect your direction.
Of time.
Yes, in the interest of time. In the interest of time.
Actually, you have less than 1 minute.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I want to say there is what we call judicially notice in law. It was in the public domain that there was a meeting between the former Prime Minister and the MCS, and we know Sakaja is being protected. If he was not protected, he would have been impeached before Jesus Christ came. Mr. Speaker, the BC before Christ, Mr. Speaker. This town has gone to the dogs, Mr. Speaker. There are no even dustbins to collect tissue papers on the corridors, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm telling you, this town, if as a Senate, Article 96 gives us power to protect devolution. Part of protection of devolution is to ensure Nairobi works. And one way of ensuring Nairobi works, he must be impeached, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I am proposing, as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, that we need, the way Senator Ledama said, to create Nairobi as Nairobi metropolis and be managed independently from other counties, Mr. Speaker. We must manage the Constitution. If you give Sakaja to run, Governor Sakaja to run this city, Senator Otsos, it will go to the dogs. It is already with the dogs, Mr. Speaker. So we must ensure, Mr. Speaker, that I want to urge Nairobi MCS to start the impeachment proceedings against Governor Sakaja, Mr. Speaker. In conclusion,
if you want to really discuss Senator Sakaja, Governor Sakaja, can you know what to do?
Yes.
Can you bring that motion to my office tomorrow? I sign.
Okay.
So that you can have now that attitude.
well guided.
In this House.
Well guided, Mr. Speaker. Well guided, with a lot of respect. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of Kilifi, Mr. Speaker, I was sad when I saw children are being forced to recite prayers. I don't have a problem with donors, but that one is a systematic failure, Mr. Speaker. It is very sad that 800 billion are normally appropriated to education. The school feeding program is the least we could do for our children, Mr. Speaker. Ganze is one of the poorest constituencies in this republic. Mr. Speaker, that calls into question the role of CDF. Mr. Speaker, you are a long-term member of National Assembly. Senator Kalwale is a former member of a member of National Assembly. This shows that CDF does not work. Mr. Speaker, if CDF of Ganze, of Kilifi constituencies, they will have provided school feeding programs, Mr. Speaker. Why do we force our children to recite prayers for food? Mr. Speaker, we used to have sex for grades. Now we have food for prayers and food for learning, Mr. Speaker. We must, as a country, say CDF should go. Let us appropriate money to national government and the county government. And I want to call upon Ministry of Education because they get 800 billion. We saw the other day Ministry of Education telling us there are 50,000 ghost students. 50,000, Mr. Speaker. Yet some children in Kilifi cannot get food, Mr. Speaker. Even Uji. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge that we are very empathetic.
As you conclude.
Let me conclude, Mr. Speaker. You know, I'm getting emotional because it's about the people of Kilifi. Many young children, Mr. Speaker, and we stand with the minority leader, Mr. Speaker. Even if it means for us as a Senate to get something, but we must call the Ministry of Education to hear, Mr. Speaker. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support all the statements that have been brought today.
And also next time also you give a case study of Nandi County. I'm very sympathetic to senators who have been around waiting to make comments. Senator Mofire, 2 minutes kindly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much,
Senator
Speaker.
Enoch, we conclude that.
For this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, we need to have a very deep discussion about the state of our public schools and institutions in this country, Honorable Speaker. And I want to outright respond to the statement by my very good friend and my teacher, Senator Fukarifi. The other day, Honorable Speaker, Larakanidi was in the international news. We had very, 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 very bad schools, Mandi Ward schools, paraded in all the Pindi houses in this country. I personally went to those schools. Honorable Speaker, those schools, they are not even fit for human habitation. Actually, Honorable Speaker, they are supposed to be condemned. Children are running under trees. Very many schools. By the way, I want to thank the ministry because they sent some people there. They confirmed quite a number of schools. Actually, around 46 primary schools in the Raka constituency are not even fit to have children in those schools. Normally, Honorable Speaker, whenever I go home, I normally take a lot of time to interact with those institutions. Honorable Speaker, we need to have a discussion as a House, through the Education Committee, and we want to interrogate, where does this capitation money go? Do we have a policy where we're supposed maybe to equalize? You know, you go to some very good constituencies with very nice primary schools, very good institutions. You go to other constituencies. The schools are not even fit even to host anybody. So, Honorable Speaker, I think it's the right time now we put the ministry on notice. We must have a policy as a House to make sure that our children enjoy the right to have better facilities in their jurisdictions. Honorable Speaker, I also want to support the statement by Omtata. Honorable Speaker, Nairobi is militant across the board. There is no place in Nairobi where you would comfortably sit and enjoy. The place is in a mess, and I think at that time, Honorable Speaker, we have to do something about this pride of ours called Nairobi in the city. It's no longer in the cities. Nairobi is already in the dark. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
In less than 2 minutes, Senator Wambua Enoch.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to really support the statement by my leader, the minority leader, Senator Mazayo, on the state of schools infrastructure in Kilifi County. Mr. Speaker, when Senator Mazayo speaks about the dilapidated classrooms and school infrastructure in most of the public schools in Kilifi, he speaks for all of us. Mr. Speaker, we have witnessed, and my friend, my brother, Senator for Tharaka-Nithi has just made a statement, deplorable infrastructure where young children are supposed to be inducted into academia. structures that actually pose a risk to these children. Mr. Speaker, the question that we must ask, and ask very, very clearly, Mr. Speaker, in the Senate, is whether this CDF is a fund that is supposed to help the education of our children, or is a fund that is supposed to help the pockets of leaders in the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I say this because I have personally borne witness to a lot of mess going on, Mr. Speaker, in public primary schools and secondary schools in my own county. Just last week, Mr. Speaker, and these things must be said for what they are. I attended a function last weekend. And the secondary school has been blown up. The roof has been blown up by wind. And there is no money to repair the roof. Mr. Speaker, I had to give 50,000 shillings from my pocket to repair the roof of an administration block at Kansigo Secondary School. Mr. Speaker, I have had to go into my pocket and give money to construct classrooms to get children learning under trees to access a classroom. And Mr. Speaker, the things that we are doing, we are forced to do as senators and other leaders, are things that we are not supposed to be doing if CDF is still in operation. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, this thing about school feeding program, it's a shame. It's a shame, Mr. Speaker, that a donor would demand of children to recite a prayer for them to get food. Food of all other things, Mr. Speaker. And the question that I ask again about CDF, if public schools, ECDs, run by county governments, if the county governments are providing food, even if it is uji, to the young kids in ECDs, and the kids in lower primary and upper primary can't access food. Mr. Speaker, what kind of discrimination is this? That you have in one setting some kids who are getting access to some food, and in the same setting, there are students who cannot access a food. Mr. Speaker, we must streamline our operations as a country and as leaders.
Thank you. Next on.
Order number 8, the Electronic Equipment Disposal, Recycling and Reuse Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide a legal framework for environmentally sustainable disposal, recycling and reuse of e-waste, establishing the national e-waste recycling plant, the e-waste sorting site, and the ward consolidation site, and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 9, the Energy Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 11 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Energy Act to exempt county governments from the requirement of consent for purposes of levying charges and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 10, the Health Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 12 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Health Act to prohibit the detention of patients and corpses of patients by health facilities.
Okay, honorable senators, at this juncture, the business So, honorable senators, I was saying at this junction to reorganize the order of business. We reschedule business appearing as order number 11, order number 12, order number 13. We'll go to order number 14. Senator Rendama Olekina. Which one? Order number 12. On my screen, I have Senator Chalagay Samson. Wait for the clerk to call the order first. Order number 12.
Order number 12, motion implementation of an automated and decentralized certificate of good conduct system in Kenya. A resumption of debate.
There's a senator who was contributing. Senator Manda got a balance of 16 minutes. If he's not in, then we go to Senator Chalagay Samson.
Mr. Speaker, as Senator Ledama prepares for his bill, let me make a few following comments. Mr. Speaker, you know, it's very unfortunate as I rise to support this motion on the automated and decentralized certificate of good conduct. Mr. Speaker, if there is one thing that is consuming most of the young people's income and they don't have jobs, is after you apply for a job and you are shortlisted for interview, you need KRA clearance. You need higher education loan board clearance. You need certificate of good conduct, Mr. Speaker. If you look cumulatively plus transport, before a young person in Kenya, at an average, to appear before an interview, they need around 10,000 Kenya shillings. That's $100 US, Mr. Speaker. This is very unfortunate that today we are still discussing access to government service, Mr. Speaker. It is very ironical, Mr. Speaker, that we are discussing access to certificate of good conduct, Mr. Speaker, being automated, yet we pride ourselves, Mr. Speaker, on the fact that we are saying, Mr. Speaker, that certificate of good conduct, Mr. Speaker, needs in one way or another to be made accessible to most of our young people, Mr. Speaker. You know, they pay like 1,000 shillings. In fact, to be precise, is 1,050 shillings, Mr. Speaker. How many young people in Kenya do they have that amount, Senator Kilifi? Mr. Speaker, we must agree that the certificate of good conduct, with the advanced technology, Mr. Speaker, today we pride ourselves with the issue of e-citizen. Mr. Speaker, we pride ourselves with Huduma centers, including in Kilifi town, in Kapsabet town, Mr. Speaker. Why should we make young people, Mr. Speaker, to come all the way to DCI headquarters? People from Turkana, Mr. Speaker, from Migori, from Nandi, from Kilifi, from Meru, come and try and access certificate of good conduct at DCI headquarters, Mr. Speaker. It is so tedious. It is littered with corruption, Mr. Speaker. Even the payment of 1,000 shillings and 50 shillings to access certificate of good conduct is punitive, Mr. Speaker. If we want to protect our young, and me, I ask myself, Mr. Speaker, my mind, I always ask myself, Mr. Speaker, if we have all the biometric information through e-citizen, through government processes, government registration, Mr. Speaker, you know we have something called Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, KNBS, which has all our data. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans have taken identity card when you reach 18 years. Why is it hard, Mr. Speaker, to check your details by government online? Mr. Speaker, why should we subject young people to go and look for certificate of good conduct, Mr. Speaker? I think we are being unfair to the young people of this country, Mr. Speaker. It is tedious. It is littered with corruption. It is manual, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this issue of Huduma centers, we need to be innovative and ensure we have access, Mr. Speaker, on the access during this. Because number two is we must fast track access, Mr. Speaker, on Huduma centers. Mr. Speaker, number two, because I'll only make 3 points. Number two, Mr. Speaker, government has all biometric information about us. Why should we go and look for certificate of good conduct? Yet they have identification documents and information that they took our biometric information when we were looking for the identity cards. Mr. Speaker, number three is the government or DCI should scrap off 1,050 shillings payment for certificate of good conduct. Number five, Mr. Speaker, is to decentralize access of certificate of good conduct. In every sub-county, we have DCIO. We have county headquarters. Let young people get certificate of good conduct when they go to Huduma centers, Mr. Speaker. The way we apply for identity card and other documents of government, we have the e-citizen, we have the access of Huduma Center, Mr. Speaker, so that we can ensure we access. The fifth and the final point, Mr. Speaker, is let us ensure that when you are given certificate of good conduct, let it be lifetime, Mr. Speaker. That will be my final proposal. Let it be lifetime, unless when a case is heard and determined and is ruled that you have violated the Constitution or the law, then it can be removed, Mr. Speaker. Why should you issue certificate of good conduct within 3 months, 6 months, you are required to do another one, Mr. Speaker? Let the issuance of certificate of good conduct be lifetime. When you are, Mr. Speaker, when you are arrested and jailed, then your certificate of good conduct can be cancelled, because those are the issues, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is important for the young people of this nation. Mr. Speaker, I know many young people ask, what is Parliament doing? Mr. Speaker, you were in the National Assembly in the last session. We pushed for the removal of KRA clearance, higher education's clearance. We need to push for removal of certificate of good conduct, because government has access to our biometric information, Mr. Speaker. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, because I know there is a matter coming up, allow me to end there and commend the mover of the motion, Mr. Speaker, although I don't see him in the chamber, that this motion should be good for the young people, should be good for this nation, Mr. Speaker. And I hope he should have been here to listen to my comments, Mr. Speaker, instead of following Wamunyoro around. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I support this motion, Mr. Speaker, and I thank you for the indulgence.
So, Honourable Senators, the mover of the motion is not allowed to reply. So, we reschedule that portion to the next time. Then I reschedule order appearing as number 13. We reschedule that. We go to order number 14. Senator Lenda Maurekina, can you move your motion? Yes, yeah.
Order number 14. Order number 14, the Seeds and Plant Varieties Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 4 of 2025, second reading.
Senator Lenda Maurekina. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the Seed and Plant Varieties Amendment Bill 2025 be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, as I rise to move this bill, I want to take my time in clarifying what this bill is and what this bill is not. Because there's been a lot of negative debate, which is sponsored by KEFIS, in the local medias on what this bill is and what this bill is not. First of all, I want to reiterate the fact that as a country, we must support innovation. We must support local-based solutions to be able to solve our problems. I've got a few facts, Mr. Speaker, that I want to put out across before I get into the bill. That will be able to help people understand this bill. Mr. Speaker, Cap 326 is the Seed and Plant Variety Act, which was designed to be able to set guidelines on how seeds should be certified, as well as to regulate all transactions involving seeds and plant varieties in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about seeds, seeds are very, very, very emotive, and they're also very important, interest building all around the globe. Mr. Speaker, we have two organizations that regulates or that comes up together to be able to promote seeds, really the economy of seeds around the world. And when we talk about seeds, there are companies that if you mention seed, they will do whatever it takes to make sure that they stop you from making any move, because that is their bread and butter. We have two main organizations which are very clear.
One is the OECD. OECD is a club of 38 countries around the world. These 38 countries around the world starts from Australia and they go all the way down to the United States. If you go to the internet, and I want to persuade Kenyans to take the time and ask themselves which countries comprises of the OECD members. And they will see that not a single African country is a member of OECD. The work of the OECD, the primary difference between this organization is that OECD is a broad economic forum for developed countries. And this is where CAFIS, which is the service that has been given powers by this CAP 326 to be able to regulate and to ensure that seed varieties in Kenya meet standards, subscribe to. We have a different one, Mr. Speaker, which is called the UPOV. This one, Mr. Speaker, first of all, before I go to the UPOV, I want to reiterate that Kenya is not a member of the OECD. The only thing that Kenya does is that when you go to a meeting called upon by OECD, you will literally sit there, like we recently did when we went to Hyderabad in India, a trip sponsored by CAFIS to try and convince me to drop the seed. You sit there just to say this is how we do it in our country, so that you can contribute to how policy should be developed to support these countries that produce seeds and sells abroad. Essentially meaning Kenya will no longer be a seed producer, but a consumer. So, Mr. Speaker, to get into the issues of the bill is that the principal objective of my bill, Seed and Plant Variety Act, CAP 326, is to introduce a standard-based and registration system administered by the Kenya Bureau of Standards. And I want to stop there, Mr. Speaker. Currently, every seed certificate in this country, regulation, is being carried out by CAFIS, which is a service. Now, Senator Ledamo Olekina introduces a new bill that introduces another regulator, which is KEBS, Kenya Bureau of Standards. In fact, someone would say, why are you complicating matters? Why is it that you do not want to support CAFIS to be able to regulate these seeds? And my answer is very simple, Mr. Speaker. Currently, it takes up to 4 years for any seed company in this country to develop a seed and put it into trial for them to be certified by CAFIS that that seed is good for human consumption. What negative effect does that have, Mr. Speaker? Is that number one, CAFIS is not designed based on their practice, their bureaucratic bottlenecks to support local innovation. Their task is one, to protect the OECD members, who are an international community made up of 38 countries. The system that I am now proposing is a system, Mr. Speaker, that has been adopted by countries like Canada, countries like the United States, countries like India, countries like Australia, that recognize that so long as we support only one system, a country will remain to become a consumer and not a producer. In India today, there are two parallel systems. One that subscribes to OECD protocols, and the other one that is local-based. And that is what I'm proposing here today, which will be a standard-based seed registration system that will be administered by KEBS as an alternative. I am not saying that KEFIS should not do their work. All I'm saying is that KEFIS focus on your foreign market. Focus on trying to come up with seeds that can be able to compete worldwide And currently, as we speak, Mr. Speaker, save from sunflower, we do not have any seed that can be able to compete worldwide. And that is because of the rigid, bottleneck, bureaucratic process that has been put in place by KEFIS. Today, Mr. Speaker, and I want to bring this discussion home. Today, in Kenya, if you plant beans, the seeds which are available in this country, and this is a fact, because I want to invite KEFIS and also anyone else who would want to talk about why is it that Ole Kenya is bringing these changes to this CAP 326, to debate based on facts. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you plant 1 hectare of beans in Kenya, on the seed variety that exists in this country, your yield will be 0.7%, 0.7 metric tons per hectare. If you jerk your head a little bit and you go to a neighboring country, on your left, Uganda, for 1 hectare of beans, the yield is 1.7 metric tons. If you go to Tanzania, the yield is about 1.6 metric tons. If you go to Rwanda, the yield is 1.7 metric tons. If you go to Ethiopia, the yield is about 1.7 metric tons. So you ask yourself, why? The problem has been because it takes up to 4 years and a minimum of $50,000 for a company, a local-based company, a small company, to be able to develop a seed that can be able to compete with international companies that are regulated under the OECD testing systems. Mr. Speaker, it is about time that we think local, we come up with local solutions to be able to ensure food security in this country. I want to repeat and say the following, that the current seed approval process has been plagued by inefficiency and delays, with new varieties taking an average of up to 4 years to be approved. What I'm proposing, Mr. Speaker, is a standard-based registration system that will take a different trajectory to ensure that we put these plants into our economy. One that will take a minimum or a maximum of 60 days. And why am I saying that, Mr. Speaker? Currently, there are 2 systems around the world for field trials. One is field trials, which is called the DUS. And the other one is a genetic fingerprint. Today, Mr. Speaker, I have a cow, and I'm very proud of that cow, that produces 57 liters of milk a day. I want to go to the lab and take the blood of that cow and try it and use standard that KEB subscribed to, which is a UPOV, based international standard, that Africa has representation, that Kenya is a member of the UPOV testing standards, to be able to safeguard, keep these genetics for my cow, so that tomorrow I can be able to have more cows that will continue producing 57 liters and above. Today, Mr. Speaker, if there is an issue of doubt when it comes to the issue of parental, or if you are said to have sired a child, and you say this is not my child, the only way you can be able to prove that is not through field trials alone. To go out there and say, oh, this person looks like the good senator from Meru. No, you go to a body approved by the government to carry out DNA. And DNA is 99.9% accurate that that child is yours. So, Mr. Speaker, I want KEFIS to continue doing their work. KEFIS will continue doing their work, regulating certified seeds that are are made for the international market. Let them use the DUS system of testing. But let us try and think on how we can be able to improve our economy, Mr. Speaker. Let us think on how we can be able to make sure that our farmers are getting good yields. Today, Mr. Speaker, Narok County is the leading wheat producer in the country. But I want to tell you this, as a farmer, some of us are running away from wheat. Why? Because the seed varieties which are in the country today, Mr. Speaker, are forcing farmers now to only get a yield of about 7 to 10 bags per acre. Yet before, Mr. Speaker, we would get 30, 35 bags per acre. Why are we stifling innovation, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, recently, KEFI sponsored a myriad of articles in the Star and also the Standard newspapers. And today, although I've already clarified, but today I want to clarify what these proposals are and what they are not. If we look at countries like Canada, USA, India, and Australia, they operate a dual seed system. Certified seed is used to protect export credibility, while quality assurance, QA, or truth in label system keeps seeds affordable and accessible to domestic farmers. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you ask a farmer out there if they know KEFIS, they will probably tell you, we don't know KEFIS. If you ask them if they know KEBS, they will tell you, we trust KEBS. For me to drink this water, the first thing that I look at it is, does it have a KEBS certificate? Does it have a KEBS number? Yes, it does. What protocols of testing does KEBS subscribe to versus what protocols do KEFI subscribe to? If you look at KEBS, they are subscribing to protocols of an organization that we as a country, back in 1999, we became a member of UPOV, having acceded to the 1978 Act of the Conventions. That was in 1999. So, Mr. Speaker, it is important to be clear on why this bill must be supported if we want to improve the yield, if we want to encourage companies to be able to come and invest in this country to produce seeds. Today, Mr. Speaker, there is one company, I think that company is called Western Seed Company Limited, that decided that enough of this KEFIS mess, we are relocating to Zambia. They are currently in Zambia. That company should have been here to be able to help produce seeds here and to build this economy. What, Mr. Speaker, I'm proposing is something which will be revolutionary, something which will be able to position Kenya and standards, put Kenya at a place where the rest of the countries are, where a country like America is, where a country like Australia is, you know. And Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief because I know my colleagues will be seconding. But now that I think I still have some time, I want to go through the bill and try to respond to issues that have been brought about by certain key stakeholders who oppose this bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've taken my time to look at the bill that I drafted, and I want to take this opportunity to say that later on, I will actually be clarifying certain things that those who opposed to this bill made me realize that, yes, there are certain areas that needed to be corrected. Like if you look at the bill that I've proposed, Mr. Speaker, is that I'm going to be adding a new provision in that bill, which will be a section 3A, that talks about KEBS being the Bureau shall be the national designated authority for the administrations and exclusive control of the standard-based seed system. So no confusion. KEFIS handle the seed certification for export market. KEBS, you will be the exclusive one that will be dealing with issues to do with a local standard-based system. So there's no confusion there. Number two, Mr. Speaker, some of the things that I will also be adding would be that I realize that in the bill, because we are rushing it, dealing with all the negativity, we refer to as the service. And CAFIS is the only service referred to as the service in definition by CAP 326. So in this case, we are going to be removing the word service and substituting it with the word bureau, so that it is clear that it is CABS that is going to be, today if we have Senator Consolata saying, I own a company that is producing seed and I want to take this alternative route that has been introduced to enhance local innovation, they will go straight to CABS, follow through the steps, and remember, CABS will not be an avenue for you to be able to come in and bring substandards. No, they subscribe to the highest standards of testing, the UPOV, which Kenya is a member. So they will be doing that. We will not just be spectators on the OECD. No, we will be taking control of our economy. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I will also be changing, instead of saying seed variety, but I'll also be calling it the crop cultivars of the crops. Because we now are very clear that what we want is to come up with crops that will be registered, monitored, regulated by CABS, and only CABS can be able to control that. Number two, Mr. Speaker, some of the things that I'm going to be making some changes at during the third reading is on who has the power to be able to add into the list. Not to modify, but to add crops into that list, which will be the Cabinet Secretary. Mr. Speaker, I want to now dwell into a couple very important matters that I really would like my colleagues to listen to. And as I dwell into these matters, because I've seen one of my good friends has just walked in, one of the reasons why I decided to sponsor this bill is because, as a farmer, I'm sick and tired of low yields. I cannot plant 1 acre of beans and get 700 kilos. Yet my neighbor in Uganda is getting 1.7 metric tons, 1,700 kilos. And it's only because in that country, in Tanzania, in Rwanda, in Ethiopia, in Zambia, they are willing to engage in a conversation that promotes innovation. That is one of the things that has really irked me, and I decided that I have to support this. Mr. Speaker, it is also important to realize, and this is where I want to at least share some input, because I've taken some time to do a comparative analysis, to look at countries that use a dual system. You know, there's a debate out there, Mr. Speaker, that I am now, with this bill, we are going to put our country at risk of getting substandard seeds. That is so wrong. That argument negates the power that institutions like CABS have in this country. Also, ignores comparative analysis of other nations that have developed. I've given an example of Australia. I've given an example of Canada. The United States in itself that has got 50 states. 50 states. There, they have two of them. They have AOSCA quality assurance, and they also have a QA program. They look at these two, one that caters to the domestic market. That is where I am. I want our farmers in Murang'a, I want our farmers in Kirinyaga, I want our farmers in Nyandarua to plant beans, and instead of getting 700 kilos, they have the ability to see companies out there that are producing seeds that is giving them 2 tons. That is what I want. I do not want to be made to become a consumer. I want to be a producer. And that is the argument that I'm having here. Mr. Speaker, if you look at system that KEFIS is emphasizing on and the argument that they are making, including an argument brought about by, and I'm happy that these stakeholders took the time to contribute to this bill. There's an argument which has been brought about by the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya, saying that they are opposed to this bill because of the following. They said that we are moving away from field trials to lab trials. And my question is this: are we still in the 19th century or are you in the 21st century? What that argument negates or forgot is that they made an assumption that field trials or DUS testing, which is the one which is promoted by OECD member, is the only way to be able to tell whether a seed is good. I am now saying it's about time that we think like the 21st century and ensure that we promote a genetic fingerprint. We will go to KEBS, who subscribe to the UPV, and will say, this seed, I'm finishing, this seed, we can follow the genetics, and we can be able to see where it has come from. And most importantly, it will be Kenyan, promoted by Kenyan company. There's a huge fundamental misunderstanding, which is what I want to clarify. And I'll also get some more time during the replying to be able to clarify a few things. Those who are opposing the dual system ignores global practice, Mr. Speaker. You cannot say that a country like the United States of America that has recognized the importance of supporting innovations is wrong by saying we will have a system that only promotes our local products. You cannot say that. I'm happy to engage with the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya and demonstrate to them that we have both. We have the DUS system that focuses 100% on field trials, and we have the genetic fingerprint. That is very, very key. Genetic fingerprint. You cannot go wrong with a DNA test. It will show you. It will also, when you try them in a lab setting, and that is where we're going. Today we're talking about artificial intelligence. A lot of things that we sit down and we talk can be better on explained by ChatGPT. You might struggle and say, what am I going to do? How do I do this? And then you ask ChatGPT, how do I put this out here? And it will explain to you. So we cannot run away from innovation. We cannot run away from technology. We must embrace technology. Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with my colleagues because I realize that we don't have a lot of time. I want to plead with my colleagues to support this bill. And I'll summarize the reasons why. Number one, it is time for us to adopt a DNA fingerprint. It is time for us to support KEBS, which subscribe to UPV, that subscribe to very, very high standards of testing. It is time for us to get upset of the losses we are getting in our fields when we plant beans and you can only get 700 kilos, while your neighbor who have adopted a local system is getting almost 2 tons. It is time, Mr. Speaker, that we also take time to understand our history as a country, where we're going and where we've come from. If we continue living as a consumer nation, just to consume, we're never going to go anywhere. Things are changing around the world, Mr. Speaker. Now, when you live in America, or when you live in the UK, or even in Germany, there's a new narrative of go back home, go back home. So if you're sent to go back home and when you come here, you can only get 700 kilos of beans per acre, how will you survive? If you decide to pick farming as your bread and butter. I want to thank, Mr. Speaker, all those who supported this. And as I end in making my initial submissions on this bill, it is wrong, Mr. Speaker, for a local company to spend up to $50,000 4 years to get their seed variety registered. Yet, the actual cost is only $3,500. It is wrong, Mr. Speaker. And I'll give you certain statistics for me to be able to sit down. And this is the economic impact analysis that I've done on the importance of this bill, these amendments. If we allow a standard-based system, the efficiency level, which currently KEFI suffers from lack of efficiency. And I want to challenge you, go to KEFI's website and compare it with KEB's website. You will see the turn of event on how you can be able to do your registration of any product that you have. If we support this bill, Mr. Speaker, the efficiency level will jump up to 95%. In 6 months, you've introduced a new variety, you've gone out there, and you are bound to make sure that that variety of seed does well. Number two, Mr. Speaker, productivity growth. With this bill, there is a potential of 5.3 billion potential GDP increase from 15% agricultural productivity improvement. Because currently we are lacking behind, because what farmers are producing is not good enough. Number two, one of my biggest pet peeves, Mr. Speaker, is that our farmers currently are still using recycled seeds. Come on. Can we now get new variety which are homeborn? This bill will increase that by 30%. Finally, as I sit, today, Mr. Speaker, there are 17.2 million children in pre-primary, primary and secondary schools in Kenya. Today's school fees is estimated to be 215 billion, or $1.67 billion. The estimated benefit from improved seed access under this proposed bill, Mr. Speaker, would increase income for farmers and agricultural GDP, enabling Kenyans to cover its total annual school fees 3 times. We will end this debate of bursaries because farmers will be able to sell their produce and pay their kids' school fees. Mr. Speaker, I move this bill to be read a second time, and I kindly request Senator Segei to second.
Senator Segei.
Mr. Speaker, listening to the Honorable Olekina moving this bill, one would appreciate and understand the reasons behind this proposed amendment to the Seeds and Plant Varieties Act of 2012. Mr. Speaker, I would like to congratulate and appreciate the Honorable Olekina for such a timely move, not because of the statistics that he has given us, but because of the background that is laid out for us to be able to understand that it is not going to be a duplication of mandates and roles between Kenya Bureau of Standards and KEFIS, as those who are opposed to this bill have moved across, but to ensure that we align this law to the innovation, to the situation currently existing across the world, of having a dual system and process of certification of seeds for the benefits of agriculture and for the benefit of the world. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the KEFI's website, I have taken time to go through it and check a few of the basic details that gives a lot of information to this particular proposed amendment to the law. And under the mission of KEFIS, Mr. Speaker, part of their mission is to ensure that there is food security across the world. Both quality of agriculture input and produce. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, they have also in their website proposed under some of the core values that one of them is innovation. Innovation, Mr. Speaker, comes with emerging issues and the development across the world. And that is why when the mover of this bill ran us through the history of who are the members of OECD and who are not, who are the members of UPUV and who are not, it is to guide us to understand that the proposed amendment is aimed at ensuring that we achieve the innovative nature and also the emerging trend in terms of the agriculture and the management of the sector as a whole, not only in Kenya, but across the world. Mr. Speaker, the mandate of KEFIS will not in any way be diminished by the introduction of this amendment. In fact, introducing a second authority or agent to support the local farmer in this aspect of certification of seeds is a golden opportunity for us as Kenyans who, by the way, Mr. Speaker, as you'll be notified, are not members of OECD and therefore are not able to establish even policies that would guide us in the varieties of the plants that we have. Mr. Speaker, that particular background guides us. Why am I saying this, Mr. Speaker? It is because as a representative of the people of Bomet, we pride in agriculture. 70% of local employment opportunities comes from agriculture, from tea, avocado, beans, maize, name them. It can only then be improved when we give an opportunity to a second institution to give us varieties and certification of those varieties, not for the international market, but for the local market. And therefore, Senator Olekina, this is a timely legislation, and I want to applaud you for that and ask that we support it because Kenya is an agricultural economy. If the statistics you've been given about 1 hectare of land in Kenya giving us 0.7 metric tons of beans as a yield, when you juxtapose that with our neighbor, Uganda, Tanzania, or Rwanda, that have facilitated certification of additional hybrid or superior varieties in their sector, they are getting more than double, 1.7 metric tons, if I got your statistics right. It's high time, therefore, Mr. Speaker, that we support this particular introduction of an amendment so that we give KEBS the opportunity to do it. And I like the way this proposal has been placed. When you read the Act, the 212 Act, that is the latest publication, Mr. Speaker, the introduction of the 3 very specific amendments has not in any way affected the mandate of KEFIS. It, therefore, going to be read as malice for anyone opposing this proposal because KEBS does not take away the mandate of KEFIS. It does not also conflict in any way because the introduction to the amendment to Section 2 of this Act introduces a bureau, and in this case, Kenya Bureau of Standards, that has got its own specs for purposes of certification. The specs in this case will be purely for local market and local production. It is therefore unfair and uncalled for anyone to oppose and say this amendment will conflict the mandates of these 2 institutions. Far from it, Mr. Speaker. The very specific proposals in the amendment to Section 10 by introduction of Section 10A, 10B, and 10C, Mr. Speaker, is to introduce a standard-based registration system. This is the system that the mover of the motion highlighted by saying that we will not be entirely relying on the field studies that takes up to 4 years for an outcome and certification to be issued to a breeder or to someone who wants to trade in a new variety. The amendment provides that Kenya Bureau of Standard will, in under 6 months, be able to certify a new variety that goes into the market for purposes of enhancing production to the locals and the people of Kenya. That is a very clear distinction that Section 10A, 10B, and 10C, as introduced by the mover of this bill, seeks to introduce and establish a standard-based registration system. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, which is also very key, introduction of Section 11, which I must also congratulate Senator Olekina, because agriculture is a devolved function. KEFIS is not as much known as Kenya Bureau of Standards by Kenyans as we might want to influence. Very few of us know about KEFIS, but when you talk about Kenya Bureau of Standards, it has got pointers, it has got offices, it has got representation across the country, and most likely in almost all the 47 counties. Giving Kenya Bureau of Standards this mandate will facilitate a stop shop in every county for purposes of seeking this certification. And because agriculture is a devolved function, it is one way of making sure that we also support our local farmers in innovation, in developing new varieties, in ensuring that these new varieties go beyond the region they are coming from, because a region like Bomet and Narok have got almost similar climatic changes. The rain season is almost the same. One variety will serve the two counties, and that variety is not necessarily going to be good for someone in a cold area or a county like Nyandarua, which is a little bit cold and more fertile than the two counties. Introducing this mandate to Kenya Bureau of Standards, Mr. Speaker, therefore, will ensure that we facilitate this certification from across our region, Kenya, and we will also be able to open up market for competition with our products within the region. Mr. Speaker, we've been run through what happens across the world. Countries have changed. Members of OECD have got their position taken. They establish and set up policies which are for purposes of their member states. Kenya is not one of them. There is no way then we can expect KEFIS to run certification and standardization of varieties and seedlings or seeds with policies where we have not played a role as a country because we are not members of OECD. And the International Union for the Protection of New Varieties, UPOV, where Kenya is a member, will be the most strategic place where Kenya Bureau of Standards can now be able to call upon and establish its standards for purposes of certification, because Kenya has adopted those regulations under UPOV. And therefore, I would like to ask also that as we seek to support the innovation, as we seek to ensure that we become a consumer, not only a consumer market, but also a producer market, this actually speaks to the mandate and also the manifesto that the current government had in place, where we are seeking to enhance production rather than being a consumer country. If we remain where we are with KEFIS and OECD standards and policies and avoid introducing KEBS as one of other certification agencies, we will not be progressing. We will be continuing to consume rather than supporting the production in the sector. And more importantly, the fact that we are going to reduce the period of certification from up to 4 years with a cost which escalates to up to $50,000, we will be able to do this within a period of 6 months at a very reduced price. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, the fact that requires us to go to the field, in this case, will be reduced because we are going to retain what is called genetic fingers within Kenya Bureau of Standards, and the print will be able to locate the locality of that particular variety so that we're able to liaise with them for purposes of knowing which area, which region, and which market will do well in such a particular variety. And last, Mr. Speaker, where companies have moved out of this country because of the cost of getting these varieties, it is going to be an opportunity for us to retain them in the country. We've been given an example of a company that has gone out of Kenya because of the bureaucracies, the time spent, and also the cost implication that goes through the entity that is under KEFIS. And Mr. Speaker, as I've said, we are not seeking to introduce duality of roles or conflict of roles. It is better to have the two institutions, run them, this for the local market and for local varieties. Let KEFIS continue doing what it's doing best in dealing with the international market and produce. And Mr. Speaker, I know if we push this and introduce these proposals to the law, we will be supporting agriculture. We will be supporting our farmers in order to enhance production. And I know that when we also add up those additional proposals made by the mover in the process of changing from the surveys to the Bureau, it will distinct the role that KEFIS is doing from that which we are saying Kenya Bureau of Standards is given the mandate in law to support agriculture, to support Kenya, and to improve on the genetic development of our own varieties instead of relying on institutions that will protect their market and leave us out to hunger and to poverty for the longest we can. I support this, Mr. Speaker, and as I second, I once again want to appreciate Senator Olekina for bringing this very important amendment to the law. It is timely, and I hope the members of this House will give it the support it desires so that we close on it and we progress as a country. Mr. Speaker, I second, and I thank you for the opportunity to support and second this particular bill.
Okay, Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Seeds and Plant Varieties Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 4 of 2025, be now read a second time. Senator Mulgo, you want to contribute? Yes. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also congratulate my colleague, Senator Olekina, for the time he has put in research to be able to get all the details that he gave us the information. Once you visit US, for example, you get asked as to whether you are carrying agricultural products. And what the U.S. Ministry of Agriculture is interested in is to protect products or agricultural products that are certified, and they know over history about the yield, about where it grows best, and so they want to they do not want to allow seeds that are not certified to enter into their country unless it is seeds that are approved by the Ministry of Agriculture. And therefore, certification of seeds is very important when it comes to production or yield in every given country and given area. And also, along with that protection is the fact that they don't want what is known to them, what they know the yield to be ruined by a foreign seed influence that they do not know, and so on. And also the fact that they want to continue with security of their seeds and of the production that they know of to be continued in the ministry. And therefore, what Olekina has shared with us is very important, because when we ensure that there is a research done on seeds that we plant, it gives us assurance, and certainty that we are yielding enough food and enough seeds and such that it will feed the country, for example, and we will be able to get enough to sell to other nations or other places that will be a market for the produce. Definitely, research is very necessary for seeds because it comes with a demand of verifications, and because there are several seeds, time must be put on it that research is done so that the variance in seeds is established. And along with that is there is also the fact that some soils could be overused. And in the Bible, it says that you cultivate for 7 years, and after 7 years, you give soil a break for 7 years. And so that the soil begins to become fertile because there is need for rest of soil, there is need for protection of moisture so that the soil is not overworked and it begins to produce a very small yield. So some of those ideas could be put to made known to the customers, farmers, so that they know those facts about soil and also a variance of soil from area to area. For example, what the supporter of the motion said about Nyandarua. Nyandarua is not same as maybe Narok or West Pokot or Kitui. So study of soil also enhances knowledge about soil and about production. Also, research should be put on that so that what seed suits where known to the customers. Training is very important when it comes to seed production and seed variants. So training of the person and the experts that pass knowledge to the farmers and to those that deal with seeds must be trained very well so that they are experts of the field. And then that enhances economical gains because unless there is study put into it, they may not really be of much gain when it comes to economical strength that comes from the seeds. And then also we will be able to export seeds to other places, as the speaker or producer mentioned about the difference between Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. That becomes a field that there is people who are experts and can know the variance. And then it brings us also food security. Food security, as you know, in Kenya sometimes becomes a challenge because of lack of expertise, lack of training, and people that are able to help the farmers to know how to produce and to know which seed fits where. And so I remember in Kapenguria, for example, Kapenguria has the elevation of Kiambu, and there is a certain maize seed that they plant. And those people that do not know the difference between elevation of Kiambu and elevation of Suswa will take seeds that would be planted in Kiambu and take to Suswa, and it just doesn't do it. And so when they produce little, they think it is a problem with the seed. They don't know that it is a problem with elevation and also the type of seed that they have taken to Suswa instead of leaving it for Kiambu. And so such variance will not bring a yield that can give those people food security and so on. And vice versa, somebody in Suswa can think that what they plant in Suswa, no matter how good it does in Suswa, will never do good in Kiambu because of elevation and soil factor. Then also diseases that would destroy the crop is another area that has to be studied and put to the knowledge and skill of those that handle seeds and also the farmers, so that there is knowledge about it, and there is also knowledge about which kind of disease kills crops in their area. So I support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Mulgor. Now, there's a request that came and disappeared. It must have been by mistake. And so, Senator Wafula, I don't want to lock you out. Do you want to speak to this bill? All right, fine. In the absence of order, Senator Wafula, you're in the House. In the absence of any member interested in contributing further to this particular bill, I'll call upon the mover, Senator Olekina, to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me appreciate you and the distinguished senator from Baringo, West Pokot, sorry, for contributing and understanding what this bill is. I just want to reiterate, because I see the chair of...
Senator Olekina, we're just about to get a representative from the county of Baringo. Just for your information.
You're right, you're absolutely right. But he's currently representing both Baringo and West Pokot.
And West Pokot.
You know, he's actually doing that. I just want to be very clear and appreciate your sentiments, Mr. Speaker, and also the good senator from West Pokot for understanding what this bill is. I want Kenyans out there to know that this bill is not proposing to be able to open up our market into substandard seeds. What this bill is proposing is to enhance innovation locally and to allow a parallel system, one that does not only rely on OECD that sets international standards, but one that is closer to home, that recognizes the role played by UPOV, subscribing entities like Kenya, who is a member of the UPOV, of the highest standard, to be able to build their economy. Mr. Speaker, Canada as a country limits requirements which are required for export seeds compared to domestic. In fact, for the domestic market in Canada, there's a rigid system that protects that economy. But when you are producing for export, you are literally excused from having to comply with every single requirement that is set out by Canada. Mr. Speaker, as I reply, I just want to reiterate that the current seed certificate system managed exclusively by KEFIS is a significant bottleneck to agricultural innovations and productivity. And I say this because it is very rigorous. It takes, and I want to give you an example, and what it costs a producer. When you visit KEFIS, and these are facts, and I'm happy to be challenged on facts, The process is very clear. The moment you do your registration with KEFIS, that you now have a new seed, they put you through the DUS sort of like testing system, which is a field base. You go through the first session, second session, you know, and then now, ultimately, it will take you a minimum of 4 years. And the cost to the producer is $25,000 to $45,000. Local companies do not have that money. What we are proposing, Mr. Speaker, is something that will take a maximum of 9 months, 7 to 9 months. What is the cost? $3,500. Are we then saying that we don't want innovation, which are home-based? What we want is to be tied in to shackles of colonialism by these international bodies? Or are we saying that we too are local and we can be able to change our economic system? Mr. Speaker, I am simply proposing, and I thank God, because the two distinguished senators who spoke on this matter recognize that this is not an avenue to be able to bring in substandards, but this is an avenue to build our DNA bank of local seeds. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you go to the UK, you will find seeds from Kenya. There is an international bank of all seeds around the world. Why can't we localize that and have a seed bank in Kenya that recognizes seeds from Bomet, from Bungoma, from West Pokot, that subscribe to a clear standard that tie down to DNA instead of just field trials? And I want to be very clear, because I know there are people out there who think that I'm focusing on maize. My bill is not related to any maize seeds whatsoever. I'm not even bothered with the maize seeds. I'm only bothered with seeds, legumes. You know, I'm a farmer, Mr. Speaker. I import grass. I import grains from Uganda. And it's cheaper than when it's available here for my cows to eat. With this seed, I will be able to grow them here, try the varieties here, and reduce that cost, and make sure that the milk that we sell there is cheaper. DNA has been proven worldwide as the only single solution to a problem that cannot be settled. I gave a good example. If a woman comes and says, Senator from West Pokot, Murgor, you fathered this child, and you say, I have not. It is not lookalikes or field trials that will determine that. It's DNA. And once DNA says that, that's a fact. So we just want to encourage local innovation. So the CAB system that I am proposing, and I'm happy that you've understood it clearly, is one that includes DNA, fingerprinting, and transparent digital registry. So that I can go to the registry of KEBS and I say, how many seed varieties are there? Today, you tell me. If you can go to KEFIS system and you follow the DNA of these things. You can't. Mr. Speaker, I want to close by trying to disabuse some misunderstanding by some stakeholders, and I'm happy that the chair of the committee is here. Because you will find that there are few stakeholders who have opposed to this bill. One of them, which is the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya. And their reasons for opposing these bills are founded in the following principles. Number one, they have assumed that the DOS testing is the only valid approach to seed certification. I have demonstrated here clearly, and I'm happy that the two distinguished senators who spoke have also agreed with me that it is not only DUS, but it is also DNA fingerprints. So I want to be able to correct that in that misunderstanding. And I've given examples. Countries like Canada process variety registration in 2 to 6 weeks. using streamlined laboratory approaches, while Australia successfully operates dual certificate system, one that is focused on the export market and that one that is focused on the local market. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the current system, in which the Plant Breeders Association did not appreciate, is extremely expensive. This proposed system will reduce the cost. Mr. Speaker, because my good brother is here, if you allow me, I will donate a few minutes to him to be able to speak. But Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request that you extend by 15 minutes so that I allow my brother to speak, to contribute to this bill, so that I can be able to close. Because you can actually.
Very well, Senator Olekina.
Yeah.
I was inquiring as to the amount of time that is still available to you.
Yes.
And of course, I'm told we've got 4 minutes to rise.
Okay.
I will, when the time comes, exercise the
15
provisions
minutes.
of Standing
Okay.
Order 34
All right.
to give you an additional 15 minutes.
Fantastic.
I extend the sitting
How
of the
many
House
minutes
for 15 minutes from 6:30.
4 minutes, okay. Thank you, Mr.
And
Speaker.
You can yield to Senator Cherargei
4
a few
minutes.
minutes so that you close as
Okay.
you reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important for me to clarify to the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya, who it's important that I speak to, because they are stakeholders. And it is imperative that we engage in a factual discussion, not a discussion which is skewed in a particular direction. I have indicated clearly that it is not only the DUS system. Let us now introduce this DNA fingerprinting. Mr. Speaker, this stakeholder, PBAK, technical arguments, I consider them completely outdated. There are multiple scientific studies that demonstrate that laboratory seed quality test correlates well with field performance. So I want to encourage them to compare apples to apples, to look at countries like India. When we went to India, courtesy of KEFIS, we visited laboratories that were testing seeds varieties. And India recognized that it is imperative that they have a local system that will support their economy, not only to be boiled down by foreign policies that cripples their productivity level. Mr. Speaker, it is also important that I clarify to PBOK on the importance of this new variety, new registration system when it comes to small-scale farmers. In fact, contrary to their submissions, this standard-based registration system that we are now proposing will reduce the cost to small-scale farmers. It will make it easier. I have demonstrated to you the process with KEFIS. 4 to 5 years, $50,000. Yet what I'm proposing is only 9 months, maximum. Any small company in Kenya, we are talking about innovation. There are no longer jobs in Kenya. You can no longer get a job. But you can go to school, become a scientist, and decide that I'm going to start a seed company. When you start a seed company, if we stick to the argument, outdated argument being propagated by KEFIS, including sponsoring news article, editorial, that's something which is not factual, then there's no way we are going to end unemployment in this country. Because then we will just be left to become slaves of international bodies. The standards that I'm proposing, Mr. Speaker, are very, very high standards. UPOV standards are the highest standards in the world. And why do I say they are the highest standard compared to OECD? Is because Kenya, our country Kenya, is a member of UPOV, so they contribute. Senator Murgor, do you know what Kenya does when it goes to OECD? They literally just say, oh, in Kenya, this is our situation. I was there, I sat down in a meeting. This is our situation. But the difference, and that is what KEFIS is telling you, let's go this direction. The difference with the UPOV testing system is that Kenya is a bona fide member. They will say, no, we do not want this, and they will be listened to. It is, if you want to compare OECD, you can compare with the G7 countries. You know, OECD is made up of 38 countries. G7 country is made up of 7 countries. Or you have the permanent members of the United Nations. When we go there, we just talk, but ultimately is what the permanent members of the United Nations will say, will determine which direction we'll go as a country. When will we as a country look back and say enough? I am tired, Mr. Speaker, as I end, of my mother who grows beans, harvesting 700 kilos. Yet my relatives in Tanzania are harvesting 1,700 kilos per hectare. And this is because of the old bureaucratic, bottleneck, outdated policies which are being propagated by KEFIS. I'm willing to engage KEFIS at any given time on a fact-based, factual, on what we're going to do to improve this economy. Mr. Speaker, the 60-day registration is very conservative. If you compare with countries like Australia, there are certain crops that only takes a very 2 to 6 weeks. That is not 60 days. So 60 days, I'm saying, that's 2 months. 2 to 6 weeks is a month and a half. So I'm saying is that with KEPS, I have not seen KEPS written in this water, but I've seen KEPS written here. I trust KEPS. Kenyans trust KEPS. So let us now shift the burden to the producers, to the young Kenyans from Baringo County, from the young Kenyans from Elgeyo Marakwet, from Nandi County, who says, I'm going to produce this seed to contribute to the GDP. I've demonstrated clearly, Mr. Speaker, that with the reduced cost, the amount of GDP growth in the agricultural sector in this country will be triple. I've given you statistics of how much we are currently paying for our students in primary and secondary school. $1.67 billion. The $1.67 billion which we are paying, that one will be easily raised by this bill. This bill will be the best thing that can happen to this country. It will help farmers compete internationally. You know, in the Maasai community, when a child is born, the mother, when the umbilical cord is cut, the mother tells you, "Bongal dauli no, my bongal alai. Hold your heart, I hold my heart." My dear colleagues, it's about time that we also hold our economy dear to us and support local innovation so that we can grow our economy. It is about time that we treat foreign bodies that comes in to try and control our seed industry as second class to our own innovations. As I sit, Mr. Speaker, let me reiterate. It is not, this bill does not seek to put Kenya at a disadvantage. It seeks to make Kenya be recognized for their innovation, for their ability to grow. I can assure you that a company like Western Seed, I think it's called Western Seed, let me check. This company that decided that they were tired of the bureaucracy at KEBS. It's called Western Seed Company Limited, a company which was based in Kitale. They got tired of the bureaucracy and the corruption at KEBS, at KEFIS, and decided we're moving to Zambia, where they are now thriving. I want this company to come back to Kenya and help innovation. I want to appreciate companies like Pure Seeds East Africa Limited for fully supporting this. I want to appreciate Kenchik for supporting this with their submissions. I want to appreciate companies like Bio. And you know, Mr. Speaker, as I end, Bio really assisted me. Because as a dairy farmer, the only thing I knew on what to do is to use my local knowledge, because I didn't study agriculture, use YouTube. But when I was now trying to get my milk in the market, Bio walked me through lab tests on the quality assurance, not field trials, lab tests. And they see the importance of this bill in terms of setting high standards for this country. So this bill, Mr. Speaker, is a bill that I believe will revolutionize the seed industry in this country. It will allow us to compete with our neighbors, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Uganda, who are dancing between 1.3 metric tons per hectare to 1.6 metric tons per hectare, to 1.7 metric tons per hectare. In fact, Mr. Speaker, nothing stops us from jumping up to 2.2 metric tons per hectare, making sure that we improve on our economy. Our people depend on their yield. It is sad, Mr. Speaker. Narok farmers are moving away from wheat. They're moving away from wheat. Because how do you, and you do the math, Mr. Speaker, you have 1 acre of land, you rent that acre, you lease that 1 acre of land for 7,000 shillings. You plow it for 3,000 shillings. That is 10,000 shillings. Then after you've done that, you harrow it for 2,000 shillings. That is 12,000. You do a second harrow for 2,000 shillings. That is 14,000 shillings. Then you now buy these substance seeds, which have been forced because of bureaucracy of KEFIS. You buy a bag at 5,000 shillings, even if you use that 1 bag in 1 acre. By the time you're done with spraying, it is costing you 25 to 30,000 shillings an acre. Then you harvest. You get 5 bags. 5 bags an acre. And then you go into the market, you are told it is 5,000 shillings per acre, per bag. So do the math. 5,000 times 5 is 25,000. You might as well have just gone and take care of your cows. Instead of you are, toying the soil, working out every day for you to come and either break even or get at a loss. In fact, you will go at a loss because when you are harvesting, the combined harvester, which most of them come from Wasingishu and Kitale, will charge you 2,000 shillings an acre. Essentially, you will just be saying, I'd rather even just let my cows go and graze in this wheat. Because by the time you are harvesting, it is 30,000 shillings. But your harvest, it's 25,000 shillings, losing 5,000 shillings. So Kenyans, this bill gives you an opportunity for you to take control of your crops, gives you an opportunity for you to compete internationally. KEFIS, I have a lot of respect for you. Handle the international market. Maintain the international market. If we can improve and continue producing more sunflower seeds to be sent across the world, because do your math, do your research. I've taken my time to do my research, and I know what crops we export. And out of the crops that I'm talking about here, the only crops, and I'm not mentioning those crops here, those crops I'll leave it to KEFIS. It is only sunflower that we can say we export as a country. Everything else we import. I am tired of being a consumer. I want to be a producer. And this bill gives Kenyans an opportunity. So I want to ask Kenyans to support this bill. When we call for public participation, let us argue based on facts so that we can be able to improve our economy. And this is when we will get these African brains, these Kenyan brains, scientists who are currently living in fear abroad, can come back here, commit themselves, start local companies, produce their seeds, and make sure that we have billionaires and millionaires, and we feed this nation. DNA fingerprinting is the way to go. The standard-based registration system managed by CABS is the way to go. And we will be an innovative nation. So, Mr. Speaker, before I reply, I think I have 5 minutes, so I'll give Senator Chero. I gave 4 minutes, and then the last 1 minute to just say the word I reply. Thank you, Mr.
Senator Cherogei, keep in mind the fact that
yes,
you've got under 4 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, we are under your mercy and your indulgence, so the Senator should not give direction. Mr. Speaker.
Blame the mover of the bill.
Okay.
I gave him 15 minutes.
Okay. Speaker, I just want, before I make 2 comments, is to pass my deepest condolences to you and the people of Jebunyo in Chebalungu, Bomet County, for untimely demise of Emmanuel Kimutai, who unfortunately, allegedly, was killed by the father. I hope you as a lawyer will ensure justice is done to the mother and that family, Mr. Speaker, and we arrest issues of domestic violence where we can. Secondly and finally, I want to support Senator Ledama, and I wish I was here, but thank you for that indulgence. Us as maize farmers, Mr. Speaker, we are suffering. As we talk today, the maize prices seedlings is very expensive by Kenya Seed, courtesy of this inefficiency of KEFIS. Mr. Speaker, Senator Ledama, are you aware we cannot access seedlings of coffee in Nandi and across the country? We can access seedlings of beans, of seedlings of many things as farmers, where I come from, Mr. Speaker, in the Rift. Because of only the one thing, inefficiency of KEFIS. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, we are planting katumani, a crossbreed of seeds that we breed. And I want to tell Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, we are forced because of this inefficiency, bottlenecks that the KEFIS have introduced, Mr. Speaker, we are planting katumani maize in either South Rift and in North Rift that is encouraging disease-resistant maize, Mr. Speaker. And you and me grew up in the village. You have to, Senator Ledama, you have to pick the bigger maize, hang it in the kitchen for it to dry, and then you use katumani. I know Senator Wabwabi or Wabwabi, Wakubobi comes from Plaza Basin. You have to hang so that when time comes, you go to the shamba. Senator Ledama, we must confront KEFIS. Let us give the standardization and approval to Kenya Bureau of Statistics. Mr. Speaker, I was shocked when KEFIS tried to mislead Kenyans and farmers. That what Senator Ledama wants to do is to undermine the integrity of seed approval process. It is far from the truth, Mr. Speaker. We want an efficiency. This is the change, Mr. Speaker, with the climate resistant, with the challenges of climate, Mr. Speaker, we must agree that we need seeds that will give us more yield, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we talk, we are approaching 60 million Kenyans. The issue of food security is at the core. The only way we must be innovative, we must come up with legislation that are progressive to ensure my farmers of maize, my farmers of tea, my farmers of coffee, Mr. Speaker, and other farmers, including even potatoes and many others, including seedlings, Mr. Speaker, we must agree, let us amend this law for the sake of that ordinary farmer who toils from morning to evening under sun, scorching sun, Mr. Speaker. I stand with this progressive law, Mr. Speaker. I would have said much, but because of the interest of time, and I think this bill should pass very fast with a supersonic speed so that our farmers can benefit. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill. I thank you.
So, Mr. Speaker, with the kind words from the distinguished senator, let me also, before I say I reply, express my condolences to the family of the departed, Derek Mutai? Emmanuel Kimtai of Chebunyo. May the good Lord grant your family the serenity to accept the things that they cannot change. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the support on this bill, and I reply.
Senator Olekina, could you also make the request for deferment of the putting of the question? Yep. 63.
So, Mr. Speaker, because we don't have numbers, I want to request that the putting of the question be deferred and to a later date, and that is on Standing Order 66.3. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Shall we rise? Honorable Senators, the putting of the question to that particular bill is hereby deferred pursuant to Standing Order 66.3 to a later date. And now, Honorable Senators, adjournment on late interruption of business under Standing Order 34.2a. Honorable Senators, it is now 6:45 p.m. and having concluded the business for which I extended the hours of sitting pursuant to Standing Order 34.2a, the Senate stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 24th of September, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Possess most